Hello and welcome. Hey Holly. Welcome everybody. Tap the screen, get some likes going. We're going to give everybody a couple of minutes to get the notification. In the meantime, tap. Send as many hearts as you can. You guys feel free to spam the comments with some emojis. Put some Bigfoots in there and some lizard people. Let's see. Throw some lizard man out into the comments. Lizard man is one of my favorites. I always forget about him. Where's he at? He's too far down. Alright guys, welcome to the Monday night stream. We're here Sundays and Mondays every week where we gather around the Holler Goblin and we tell spooky stories. I think I just wrecked my tripod. Okay, alright. That'll have to do, I think. Everybody tap the screen, send some likes. More likes means more people, means more ghost stories. We want to get out into the algorithm so we can attract some people with some stories. If you're new here, every Sunday and Monday night at 11 p.m. Eastern, we gather around the Holler Goblin and we tell stories. We tell paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories. We do it all. I don't end the lives early. I end them at 2 a.m. That's incredibly late for me. And that's about as late as I could go. So we're gonna probably start doing a hard stop at 2 because it is incredibly difficult. You're in California. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm on East Coast time, so for me it's already after 11 here. So guys, hit the share button, copy the link, spam the comments with some emojis. If you don't have the subscriber emojis, feel free to just throw some aliens and some ghosts and whatnot out there, anything that looks remotely paranormal. I mean, you can really just use any kind of emoji you want to, I suppose. So if you're new here, we do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories. Just stories that creep you out, like something super spooky that happened to you one time, something that keeps you awake at night. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. Hey, Cat Mama. Got the dog man. You've got a dog man? Come up here and tell me about it, Blue Light. I'd love to hear a dog man story. We've been getting progressively more and more dog man stories. Thank you, Tink. Appreciate that. We do get some of those. Is it Mike? Yeah, Mike, we do get some of those from time to time. Honestly, we get a little bit of everything. I think last night was our very first Wendigo story. We'd never had one of those before. At least not that I can remember. I could be wrong about that. But, oh, thank you so much, Tink. I appreciate that. Hello. Alright, guys. Guest box is open. If anybody wants to come up. Come up and share a spooky story. Saw a Squatch. Wendy, do you want to come up? Guys, you may not know this, but TikTok changed the number of followers that you need to go live. So if you have at least 50 followers and are at least 18 years of age, you can come up as a guest and share your story. It used to be, I think it was 200 there for a while. Now it's down to 50. Yeah, absolutely, Wendy. We'd love to hear your story. If you want, just hit the little pink and blue person down at the bottom. I'm not sure where it's at. I think it's down at the bottom of the screen somewhere. It says guests, I think. Send a request, hop in the guest box, come up, share a story. Scissor hands, feel free to jump in the guest box. Come on up. Let's get some stories going, guys. What kind of night y'all think it's going to be? I think last night was a doppelganger night, but it was kind of a slow night, so we didn't end up getting that many stories, which is probably going to be like kind of a thing throughout the summer weather where people are, busy and doing more. But we had a couple of doppelganger stories last night. It was really cool. Hello, welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've seen things since I was a little girl. Like I've seen Sasquatch. My family used to make fun of me. They used to say it wasn't real. But I had a really life-changing experience after 7. I seen a UFO in Lakeland, Florida. The news people even came back later and ended up doing a story with me over it. Was taken that night and have like missing time. I was gone from the house for over 10 hours and was found back in my bedroom in the same position I was in when my mom left me, the same exact position. It was really scary for me because my whole life everybody thought I was crazy, that I didn't know, what I was saying or anything like that. Now, as you know, the government's come out with everything. So in 2014, what made it even worse is I was misdiagnosed and sent home and I was dying for 7 days. And I literally died. I physically died. I had no brain activity, no heart activity. The only reason I'm even here right now is because I was an organ donor and they had me on life support, which my mom, and then when I went back to my body before seeing my grandmother in the light, I was given a choice, either come back or go with my grandmother, and I chose to come back. But I saw both of my parents right before they were fixing to come and unplug me. That's what they were doing. It's on record. It's on my hospital records and everything. During the time that I was gone, I seen a lot. Like I seen future events, COVID, everything. I used to tell people about it before it even happened. Sometimes I feel like my family's still judging me, and I'm very like heightened. Like my senses and my feelings and everything, my emotions are very heightened. So I really stay to myself now. Like I really, especially after my mom passed away and me watching her die in front of me, it did something to me because there was nothing I could do to save her. There was nothing I could do to keep my mom with me. I still sense things. I finally have gotten up to Tennessee where I'm at now. And I know there's Sasquatch here. And I know there's dogmen here because I seen one go across my daughter's property. And I don't know why, but I feel like I'm since I died and I've had that experience of being on that side, I was already, something was already going on with me as a child, you know what I mean? And then that happened. And now it's like I'm super sensitive to it. I am a published author. I do have a book. It's called Only the Universe Knows because that's the only thing I could think of to name my book. My bio was because nobody had any understanding to it. I had a afterlife psychologist from the Pentagon, from Washington, D.C. with me the whole year and a half I was in the hospital. And that's all they wanted to know is where did I go? What did I see? What did they tell me? And I lied. I lied because I was scared that what she knew I did. In the end, she came and she told me, she goes, I know you lied to me. You know what I'm saying? You're going to find out on your own. The reason we tried, they were trying to basically get me ready for what was coming, for having that experience, so I could handle it more. And I should have listened. I should have let them talk to me. I should have let them, guide me through it instead of just blocking them. I mean, they were the U.S. government. That I'm pretty sure she knew what she was there for, And now, I don't know if people realize that things are going to get highly intense. Our planet has shifted. There's a lot more fixing to happen. I mean, a lot more is fixing to happen. Things that you wouldn't normally see are going to happen. A lot more portals are opening. it's serious. And now that it's shifted and it's tilted the way that it has, our planet has literally shifted. You can actually Google it, find out for yourself, do your research. Now we're having more of the solar flares for the sun, and the magnetic fields and stuff like that are happening more. So yeah, I absolutely believe that our summers are fixing to be getting hotter. They're definitely, there's some shifts going on. Like I'm in Georgia, I'm in Tennessee now, and there's been some really hot days here, but then again, there's been some really cold mornings and really cold nights. And by now, you would think that it would be like, warm all the time, or you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
something's
I
definitely,
actually had to wear a jacket to go walk today because it was legitimately cool. Like it was really
yeah.
cool out, but
And
it's
I
got a
really
lot to do with
feel,
like global warming and stuff like that too.
yeah, I think it does. And I think that we're going to be seeing more sightings and stuff like that because of that. You know what I mean? Could you imagine having all that fur and being in the heat? You're going to want to move. You're going to be wanting to go closer to water sources and stuff like that, and to where there's cave systems. They're going to want to go where it's cooler. And that's just what I feel like. I sense them. Like I know they're here. I was supposed to be doing a documentary. I'm in the process of still learning to walk. When I didn't really tell that part of the story. When I died, it literally paralyzed me. So I have literally fought since I've come back, on top of everything else. And I don't know, I absolutely believe in everything. I think I always have since a child, since I seen the UFO the first time and was taken. Like literally it's on record. And then, have a missing time is what they call it. They won't say, particulars. But, and then dying and seeing what I've seen and know that it's real, like, I know what it's like on the other side. Like I literally floated over my mom, and then I saw my mom and them breaking down, holding each other, walking to my room to unplug me. That's something you don't ever forget. And I remember seeing my grandmother in the light, and I remember her putting her hand out to me. But I looked at her and I told her I couldn't go because whoever took me, whoever had me, whoever showed me the future and showed me our planet and showed me everything when I was gone, I knew that I needed to come back and tell my story. But I've never met the right people to be able to do that. And I know I'm supposed to be back. I'm here for something. It's not just for my kids. It's not just for my grandkids. There's something more. And I believe that with all my heart. Like, it bothers me. I think about it all the time. I haven't been sleeping well lately. I've been feeling a lot of high energy around me and a lot of heat. And usually when that happens, there's something going on. Like, and I just try to stay out of a lot of stuff like searching anymore, because every time something happens or I see something, I go and look and it's there. So it like, I'm tired. It's been going on 10 years now. This has been going on since I died and came back. And it's like it's starting to drain me. Like I'm like super sensitive. I can't even explain it. Like ghosts and stuff are real. Like the energies and everything are real. And I've had live experiences with it. So I can sit there and say, it's real. You can go back and look at all my Facebook pages, everything. You can see where I predicted things before they ever happened. The Ring of Fire, before it ever happened. And I talk to Robin once in a blue moon. I call her when I'm really upset. She's really busy because of where she's at in Washington. She did go home. I left the hospital. She went back to Washington. And I want people to know, if you really feel it or you see it or something in your gut is telling you that's what you're seeing, you most likely are seeing exactly what you think. Don't second guess yourself. There is shadow people. There is apparitions of ghosts that actually look like people in full clothing that I've seen. I've now seen the dog man. I've only seen it one time, but I've seen it here, and I know it was a dog man because the Sasquatch don't run like that. It looked like a werewolf, literally running, and it was bigger than a dog, and I even told my daughter that. I said, I saw it. I watched it run across. She's got 5 acres. I watched it run across in between the two properties. And yeah, there's definitely movement happening. And I know I can't wait to go camping. I keep trying to tell everybody, let's go camping where there's nobody at, that's royal, and just see what happens. Just be yourself. You know what I mean? I was telling my daughter the other day, Sasquatch are attracted to children. Their laughter, they have children. And they are attracted to that. I don't think all Sasquatch are bad. I believe in my heart that there is different breeds of Sasquatch. There's vegetarians, there's cannibals. There are different sets. You know what I mean? And I've done a lot of research in the last, I'd say, 12 years on that particular thing. And they do. They have like where they literally have their lands and their areas cut off from each other. And they actually have like a war thing. You know what I'm saying? If one crosses the other one, it is a like type of battle between them. So I hope people understand that I love stuff like what you're doing. I think you're amazing. Um, I'm very appreciative for you letting me talk because I've never been able to just say what happened to me,
Yeah,
say
for
the things that
sure.
that's
Well,
happened.
we
You know what I mean?
definitely appreciate you. I do have some people waiting that I want to get to,
Yeah,
but stick around, listen to some
yeah.
stories with
I'm
us, and
following you now. Yeah, I'm following you now. And if you ever have any questions, just inbox me. I will talk to you one on one. That is not a problem.
appreciate you coming up and sharing your stories.
You too.
Um, Snowbird, would you? I don't know what's going on in the comments. I have no idea what's going on. Uh, trying to keep up with everything here. Hey, Ollie.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, we got a bunch of people. I'm trying to like. There's something going on in the comments. Did you just now get here?
Yeah, I just got here.
Okay.
Maybe like a
Okay,
minute.
just a sec. Okay, no problem. Yeah, Tabitha, I'm getting trying to get to everybody. Everybody kind of came up really fast. All of a sudden, the box was full. Where did Snowbird go? I was gonna invite Snowbird up because
Am I here?
they had something.
Hello?
Yeah, we could.
Here.
Yeah, hang on just a second, Tabitha. Snowbird, if you're still here, if there's something you need to say or whatever, like, feel free to guest request and come up.
Well, you see, I believe in ghosts completely, and people laugh at me all the time because of it. But I lost my dad when I was 5 years old, and I've always been told that spirits are with you, all around you, everywhere. And I believe that is so true. Because now I am a spiritual witch and I feel it. I've even seen things. Like there was a few times, actually not very long ago, it was like a couple of weeks ago. I was just sitting in my room and the next thing I know, my earpod thing where you put your headphones to charge, just so happens to just slide all the way across the table. I'm like, okay, that's very nice for you to show that you're here. So I just start talking and I say, well, can you move it back? So I wait about 5 seconds. It literally, there's no wind, there's no reason for it to even happen. It flies into the floor. I go running to my mother because I live with my mother. I have a disability. So I live with my mom. I go running to my mom. I'm like, Mom, my earpod case just flew across the room. She's like, you're lying. I'm like, no, I'm not lying. It literally just flew off my table into the floor for no reason. And she's like, you're lying to me. I'm like, no, I'm not lying. And so I literally recorded it 2 nights later and showed it to her. And then she totally believed me after that. And we literally just moved into this trailer. Like, literally just moved here and it just happened out of nowhere. Like, I'm literally just sitting here watching TV, minding my own business. And my iPod case just goes sliding everywhere. And I'm just like, it's very nice for you to make your acquaintance.
Yeah, are you familiar with poltergeist activity by any chance?
Actually, yes, I am.
It kind of sounds like poltergeist activity a little bit. You think?
In a way, I think you're probably right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've had some stuff like that happen. It's always just like weird, off the wall little things.
Yeah.
Sometimes even like borderline petty things, you know? Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah, and
I
I've
don't know
always
if you have like young relatives or anything. There's a theory out there that poltergeist activity is kind of perpetuated by the angst of adolescence or something. Snowbird, I see you in the box. Give me just 1 second, and I'll get you up here. Just hang in there for just a second.
I'm trying
Um,
my best to not keep you long. I
oh,
I'm
you're
so
fine.
I'm so happy that I found this channel. I am all into witches, ghosts, anything weird.
Yeah, for sure. We do
And
all kinds of stuff here. We get tons and tons of, really great stories and, people with all different types of experiences. Well, you'll
and
have to
like
keep us updated on this activity and let us know what's going on with it because to
and
me, kind of sounds a little bit like poltergeist, but
and the thing about it is that I lost my father when I was 5. I lost him from cancer. And ever since I was little, I can always feel him around me. Like, and this is going to sound so weird to people. I don't know if this sounds weird to you or not, but I can always hear his voice in my head. Like, I can always hear his voice in my head. Like, always. Like, if I'm just thinking about him or just whatever, I can just literally hear my dad's voice in my head. And it's the same thing with my grandmother. I lost her about a year ago, and I can literally hear my grandma's voice talking to me in my head, and it's insane, really. And I literally chalk that up to a sixth sense.
I do kind of, sorry, I heard you guys from across the room. I agree with Sarah. It seems like poltergeist activity. But it also seems that you're also experiencing ancestral connection. As
I've heard
magic,
that before.
yeah, as a practitioner myself, I think Druid may also have insight on this. I would try to kind of like do a ritual for like for your ancestors to reach out. Perhaps you can even have a dream state to where they're probably going to have a conversation with you and be done what they're saying, because usually when this happens, it's your ancestors trying to reach out to you, and that's all.
Now you see, I never knew anything like that. I do know a lot about witch history, and I am a spiritualist. I call myself a Christian witch, and a lot of people are telling me that doesn't exist. Uh, I don't know
that
if it
does
does.
exist. That's very
Thank
much a
you.
thing. It
It
does,
Thank
is.
yeah.
you.
Yeah, it exists.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm going to try to get Snowbird up here real quick and see what was going on a minute ago, but I appreciate you so much coming up and hang out with us, listen to some stories, and if you want, come back, tell us some more stories later on. And we'll look forward to hearing an update from you about your activity that's going on.
Of
Yeah, and
course,
I,
of course.
just for the record, like, because I was kept on switching back and forth, I agree with Ali in regards to what he was saying. So, just putting that out there.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Tabitha, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Snowbird, I hope you're still in here. Let's see what's going on.
Welcome.
Hey, what's up? What's on your mind?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I get really irked on this app a lot of the times. I just made a video about this about 2 days ago because when I go on my lives, I show my missing cousin who disappeared off our res in 2021, just vanished, nothing. And then I had this person private message me and say, well, I don't say that word. So what the guest, not the one that was just on, but the one before it, the being she was talking about, the one that's in your background photo. I don't say that word. I don't say any of the words or the nicknames that have been given to that being.
This is my
And they
holler
said,
goblin. Just to be
okay,
clear,
but
this is my
what I'm
original
saying
creation.
is, right, but you know what I'm saying, right? That
Yeah,
being.
the W
Okay.
creature.
Right.
Yeah.
So I they said, well, that thing has been known to take women. So maybe somebody should find it and ask it, if it knows anything about your cousin. The amount of disrespect that I've heard ignorant people say about that being is so mind blowing to me. That being was first talked about like publicly when colonization first happened in the early 1800s in California. The first place it was spotted was in Humboldt County, California, in the Redwoods. What was happening in the Redwoods at the time? The miners had come over, but again, the loggers came over and started chopping down 90% of the Redwoods. The Redwoods belong to my people, the Yuroks, the Kruks, and the Hoopas. That being was never seen until the Redwoods started to be cut down and our people started to be schmurdered, right? Then you get all these stories about that being hurting people and doing bad things. That being would never hurt people who were good. And my tribe in particular, like we have, I don't want to say laws, but we have guidelines we have to abide by. Like if it shows itself to us, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That means it trusts you. And you take that as you take it for what it is. You don't video it, you don't picture it, and you don't tell people where you've seen it. And it irks me when I see people say, well, it likes children. It likes to, hurt children or hurt women or hurt men, because that is absolutely not true. I always tell people, don't be where you're not supposed to be and nothing bad will happen to you, especially in Humboldt County. So it just irks me when I see people, especially non-natives, making such brazen statements about something that is from the Native community. It's harmful. It's absolutely detrimental to our communities.
Absolutely.
So that's why I was aggravated. So I apologize. I was just about to go to bed. I was making my bedtime bowl of cereal, and I was just like, "What is this lady talking about?" And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Oh, yep. Here we go. Here we go."
I get it, because you have people that, regardless of the path or your culture or whatnot, people are going to make assumptions about things that they don't necessarily know anything about. I get it. It's something that's going to trigger somebody, and they have it in them to be like, hey, this is not how it is. This is not how things go. I understand. I'm a Virgo, so,
It's things, and then of course it trips me out. I don't have a problem with the paranormal, community or anything. I have a lot of friends that are in that community, but it always makes me chuckle, especially here in the States, when they go, "Oh my God, this place is haunted," or "that place is," and I'm like, this whole place is built on an Indian burial ground. Of course it is. There is probably not 1 square foot of these states that has not had our blood spilled on it. Of course that's possible.
Yeah.
And, it's just the way it is. And in my lifetime, I have seen entities. But here's the thing. Native people approach those things a little differently. We don't see the end of life, death, as the end, like, I guess, a lot of organized religion. It's a stepping off point for us. It's not an end of the line. You go over the ledge and that's it. You're never seen again. For us, it's just another step in that stone. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, I mean, there's something upstairs in my house. I respect it, and I know it respects me. It's been there for years. This is actually the first time I've spoken publicly about it. It doesn't bother me. I don't have an issue. This whole place, the amount of battles that have taken place where I live at, like back in the day, it doesn't surprise me. Not at all. And I just wish people had a more healthier, robust respect for not only paranormal, but actually like the older stories, the older native stories, the older, our stuff is way older than, organized religion. We're going back 7,000 years here.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is something that, your culture shares in common with a lot of practitioners of Northern European paganism, is the fact that
my husband's Scandinavian,
is far older than organized religion.
He's actually from the Al's True Faith. So we've been married 20 years. So our faith aligns so similarly that I have a sign out front that says what does it say? It says like no solicitors, you'll be sacrificed to the old gods, not the new. And I know that's
Oh,
like
I like
a
that.
sign that's super popular. And then and then, cause like we both come from, faiths that have been persecuted and, and shamed, especially like I live in the South right now. And I'm like, ugh, I live in the South. It's the Bible Belt. And it was old Confederacy state and a red state. Like it's the worst here for me as a Native woman with a tattoo on my face and my husband. Like it's just, we're not having a good time here.
Realize though too is statistically speaking, there is actually a resurgence and a rise in beliefs and structures that are not
Old
necessarily
beliefs.
of the biblical.
Yeah. Do you want to know
faith.
why? I have
Because people
I have a strong
fed
belief
up
in it
with it.
because
Yeah.
people are so fed up with the twisting of
Yeah.
organized religion. You have to understand too. I'm a third generation residential school survivor. So my grandmother was taken from her mother and father by Christianity, by Christian churches and the US government, and thrown into a boarding school, an Indian boarding school, where the placard on the wall said, "Kill the Indian, save the man." They would strip her of her language, her hair, which, mind you, is very sacred to us. Any part of her that was native, they scrubbed. They would beat her. They would break her fingers for speaking Yurok. It was very harsh for us. I always had like a very iffy relationship with religion.
Yeah, they
But to
did
know,
for the Irish.
right. And what's crazy is like you think residential schools, you think Canada, like, oh, it's just the Catholics up there. Oh no, honey. Down here, we had 3 times the amount of residential schools in the United States. And it was Catholics like up towards New York and stuff. But the rest of the country, it was all Christianity based residential schools that the native children were thrown into and beaten and schmurdered and raped. Like it was all Christianity based. And a lot of people are swaying, what I see are swaying away from the organized religion because of how corrupt. Like I tell people, it's gotten so, even if that person was real, that Jesus person, I don't know. I believe all gods are real. I'm one of those people. I have a healthy respect for anyone's religion. And I feel like he would be probably really disappointed to see how badly they have taken his word and ran it into the ground. That's just me. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, for what it's worth, there's actually no real evidence that he existed, but so.
From a history buff,
right.
I
mean, well, they could say that. They could say that about all of our, all of our gods, so to speak. But I'm the type of person, I respect because I would be so hypocritical. I'd be like, oh, they say God's the only one and Jesus is the only one and we don't exist, right? My beliefs, my husband's belief, that Thor and Odin and all those people don't exist. Who am I to say, oh, well, that doesn't exist either? I can't do that. I'm not going to double hypocrite like they do me.
All belief is anecdotal. All belief is anecdotal.
Exactly. It's up to
evidence,
your interpretation
yeah,
on how you want to perceive that religion, that belief. And for me, my belief, like the native belief, which is more outside based, it's more, our religion is outside. It's not in a walled up house. And his belief, which is, I would say paganism, he mostly says, the Alpha True Faith, is more similar than I would say any other belief that I know of. And it brings comfort, like I said. We believe in similar things, and that's one thing he learned going back home, back to Humboldt, that being to us is a kind and gentle being, and it loves people. It loves people because people are supposed to help take care of the redwoods and the forest and the planet. So when people start harming the planet and cutting down these giant redwoods, 90%, 94% of the old growth redwoods are gone. They're cut down. What you have now is 6% left of the old growth redwoods. The tallest trees on the planet. These trees are millions of years old. Like the movie Avatar, that was taken from the redwoods, where the trees talk to each other, and that tree can supply that tree with what it needs. That's from the redwoods. They, all the trees are connected up to 4 miles underground to each other. And if this one has too much water, they can send the other one more water. If this one has too little water, the other one can send that one water up to 4 miles away. Like, and it kills me when I see people say that that being harms people or it does damage or it scares. That's not its intention.
I've not got the chance yet to ask because I still don't really even know like what was going on. Are you're talking about like the first guest and Bigfoot?
Yes, that one. That's the one I'm talking about. I don't say that. We don't say the name. We don't say any of that stuff. That being is much older than the nickname that it started in colonization gave.
So I thought we were talking
now you see
about
what I'm saying,
something.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
now you see what I'm saying. Like, it's irksome to me saying that, it does this and it does that, because that's absolutely not. You want to know about that being and how that being is vital to the NorCal, the Pacific Northwest natives' lives. Go talk to a Pacific Northwest native. Go talk to them. Don't talk to white people that go out here and try to Scooby-Doo. Right. All you have to do is talk to a Pacific Northwest native. Talk to somebody that's in, Humboldt County that's native and ask them, what do the tribes think about that? Because that's what matters. If that's where that being originated from and it was given to them by Creator to help them in whatever way, don't you think you should talk to them about it and not form these hateful ideologies that are harmful to native people? Then you got people going in the forest to, quote, hunt this thing to either harm it, capture, or kill it. And it just baffles me because
unalive.
That brings tears to my eyes because that's just so hateful.
They're the last guardians of the forest.
The Redwoods. That's where it's first seen at, is in Humboldt County in the Redwoods. We have a healthy respect for that being. And like I said, we have laws, if you see it, we have such laws. Listen to this. We have such laws that if you're fishing the river, the Klamath, the mighty Klamath, that's a giant river that runs through California and goes all the way up into Canada. Okay. If you're fishing and you have nets out for the salmon, if a big rock is thrown into the river from the side where the trees are, you are to pull your nets in because that being is telling you it's time for him to eat. And the people do it. The native communities do it. They listen.
He has a lot of similarities in some respects to, like the Celtic variants of the Fae.
Yes.
Well, I should say the good neighbors, because a lot of people would say
Absolutely.
that you're not supposed to call them the Fae. You're not supposed to refer to them as the she.
Those are nicknames that were given. I want to say, all the nicknames I've heard were given as like a slick nickname for them. But like I said, we don't say anything. That being is very respected in our communities. It's not seen I'm telling you, I got a message the other day that said, well, maybe that being took your cousin and hurt her. I heard that it's been doing that to a lot of Native women up there. How dare you? How dare you say that? I couldn't believe somebody would message me and say that in private.
Yeah, that's the kind of rhetoric that I really try to keep from happening up here. We do get from time to time people, with wild conspiracy theories like that, and we try to avoid that completely. Because my personal, I have Druid who is Druid. Do you call yourself a witch?
Oh no, I am most certainly a druid.
A druid, okay. And then I know Ali is I think he says magi. I'm an atheist, so I don't subscribe to any of these conspiracy theory type stories. But what I try to do here is just let people tell their experiences and tell their stories without it going, progressing across the lines and crossing.
My son, my youngest, is an atheist, and I think my oldest might be atheist too. He's kind of fluctuating a little bit, like I said, I'm a very open parent, and grandparent. I definitely let people figure out whatever they want. That's what I'm saying. I'm not hypocritical in that way. Believe whatever religion you want or not.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to get across is that we try to just share ideas across different beliefs. I have a lot of witches who come in and talk about stuff that they're interested in, things that they believe. We have pagans come in. We have people from all different walks of life.
Right.
But we try to avoid the harmful ones if at all possible. It's not
Right.
always 100%
Like
possible.
I don't have a problem with people theorizing about that being for native people, especially in, Northern California. Like, oh, have you seen it? Do you know anybody's seen it? But when you start making broad statements like, like that one person that messaged me, they're snatching native women, they're hurting people, they're killing people. That is hateful ideology. And for the native community, it's harmful. If you only knew how many people come to the redwoods to quote hunt this thing down, to harm it, capture it, kill it, it's something I get tired of seeing. I'm supposed to move back in about 3.5 years, and quite honestly, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it because of those types of people. I don't know. It still baffles me to this day, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But that was it. That was all I was saying.
definitely-
I don't like that, when people are making those weird statements.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like it can bring real harm to the native communities. Just like people making statements about the blank walkers in the plains. I don't mess with that. That's not my people, not my place. But I listen to them. And I just need people to be a little more respectful. Like, I'm not from the House of True Faith, but I believe my husband's, and like my youngest is an atheist. Like, I don't believe that, but I respect him. Like, I'm not going to be like, criticizing, well, what about this and what about that? Because then I can't say I respect his belief. And I feel like we as humans, we're just a little more respectful of each other, this world wouldn't be half as bad as it is right now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we appreciate you coming up, and I hope that this was insightful for the people in the comments and people listening. And thank you for sharing your viewpoint with us.
I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and all of that.
Thanks,
Thank you
you
so much. All right.
Thank
Shoot.
you.
Bye.
Alrighty, guys, tap the screen, tap, 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 hit the share button. Let's get some people in here. Let's see if Heather is still with us.
Hello.
See if it'll connect.
Hello
Hello,
there.
Heather.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How old are you?
46.
Oh, you sound so youthful. I thought maybe you were.
I just have a baby
Alrighty.
voice.
Well, you got a spooky story for us?
Yeah, I have a lot of them, but the one that comes to mind is has to do with an ex, and I don't know if he like has demons or what it is, but he's like haunted or something. I don't know if he's into wizardry or something strange like that, but a lot of things like came to me, in hindsight later. But anyway, not long after we got together and moved in together, we had laid down to take a nap, and we had a light dimmer. It was an old house that was turned into apartments, and it was very haunted. And so it's like I woke up and I was in like delta stage sleep, I guess, because it's like I woke up and I was awake, and like there was this being over me that looked just like him. It looked like my ex, but it had like sharp pointy teeth, and it was speaking in like a demon language or something. And then it's like I woke up again, and he wasn't even in the room anymore, and I was freaking out. And it was like back in the 90s before, we had cell phones and all that. So but I paged him on his pager, and he just happened to have went out on the porch with the neighbor or whatever. And I was just like so freaked out. That was like the first experience I had when I was with him. And I was just like, okay, I was just dreaming or whatever. But then it would be things like my shoe would get moved into the center of the room and filled with water or something, and you'd trip over it. Things coming up missing. And so I just thought, this place is haunted. And so we moved to another place. And there, like, I had experiences where I got pushed, but there was nothing I could see. And there were things that whatever it was, it would like emulate him. Like, I was home one day by myself waiting on him to get home, and I was like cooking and washing dishes, and I like heard the sound of some keys dropping, and I never really turned around. And then I heard like a sound like him clearing his throat or something. And about like 10 minutes later, I realized he never came in the house. So I stopped what I was doing and I walk outside. Nobody's home. Nobody's there. And so he finally gets home a little while later, and I was like, "Did you come home and leave again, And he's like, "No." But that was just a really strange few of the experiences I had during that time.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of the doppelganger stories we get, actually. We had one last night that was very, very similar to that. One of our regulars came up and said that he had left his babysitter, at his house with his kids, and him and his wife took off. And then the girl thought that he came home early because she saw him. And we get those from time to time. They're really wild. I've had an experience like that myself. So
it's really creepy.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I mean, that's been
so
like
weird.
Well over 20 years ago, and it's still like, just, I think about it, and it's, I got away from him and I just cut all ties. We were together for like 6 years, and there was a lot of experiences throughout that time, and I would just kind of try to blow it off, But a few years ago, a mutual friend of ours passed away, and I went back home to go to the funeral, and I knew there was a possibility I might see him there, but I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go because that's my friends too. And so me and my daughter and a good friend of mine were sitting there talking before the service started, and it was so crazy because we were in deep conversation, and something in me was just like a compass. I knew the moment he walked in that building, and my head just turned around like the dang exorcist, and I turned back around and told my daughter, "Randall's here," and she's like, she just immediately got goosebumps all over her, and she's like, "How did you do that?" And I was like, "I don't know, but my demons know his demons or something." And that was the last time I saw him, thank goodness.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story with us.
Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. All right, guys, spam the comments with some lizard people and some squatches and whatever else we got down there. If you don't have the subscriber emojis, do with what you have, I suppose. Aliens, ghosts.
And others.
Not to sound hoity-toity, but some of us have dogman emoji.
Cheeseburgers
I'm
sound
just picking
good
with you
too.
guys. What is it, Ollie?
Cheeseburgers sound good too. Go ahead and spam those.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
throw some cheeseburgers out there. I don't
With
even
some
eat
bacon.
meat, but yeah. Is there a bacon emoji? I feel like there probably is.
I assume so. I mean, I haven't figured out how to do the emojis that
one?
like there's if you click on the emoji button on TikTok, it has only a select amount of emojis that you can do, like the smiley face ones and stuff like that. But I know that somehow you can get to the other emojis too, and I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know. I can't do it from. I don't know. There is a button though. Hang on, let me look because now I'm wondering about that. So like for me, I just have like, oh yeah, there's like when you hit that little emoji button, there's a circle with a bunch of like a keyboard comes up, and
Oh
if you
yeah.
tap that, it takes you to your regular emojis. I think that's I don't know.
No. Weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that is weird. um, I'm gonna throw some Mothmans out there for you guys to feast your eyes on because we love Mothman around these parts. Well, guys, I am scatterbrained already. I am already derailed. It's gonna be a wild, long night.
It's fine.
Am I in West Virginia? No, I'm in Kentucky. Children, quit fighting under my desk. Hang on, I'm having a cat fight over here.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to invite Blue in here because he was mentioning it too. There we go. I don't think he's online currently, but he was. Well, you were in the chat earlier when he was like, "Yeah, I need to check out Sarah's page."
Yeah, I don't know if I heard it because I was kind of in and out.
Uh-huh.
I was wanting to come up there with you all, but I couldn't right at the moment. And I got
Yeah.
like the, what is it, the multi-guest thing. And I was like, I don't even know how to do multi-guest. So
Yeah.
I just,
So
you
when
know, I
you
just
have
know the
that, you
guest
just
box.
click on that like you would just your regular suggestion, or like you click the
Yeah.
multi-guest and that's how you cam up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't able to do it earlier, but I kept checking. I was like, oh, maybe I can go back later and get on with them for a little bit, but
Yeah.
I didn't know what y'all were up to or what you
Yeah,
were talking
because you'd
about.
be
But it
totally
was
down to be able to
funny.
pop up and chat and stuff like that. Like we have Ali come up every so often too and chat with us. It's fun
Awesome.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever caught the live before, but I was scrolling through I had a couple minutes and I was just scrolling through like, a mini doom scroll. And I swear to God, right as I went to like scroll, I heard your voice say something about a fruit fly. And I was like,
Yes.
fruit flies? I was like, I got to jump in there on this one.
Yeah, you're always welcome in there.
Yeah, that would be cool actually, because I've never got to be a guest on anybody else's stream. But yeah, if is it Blue Wizard?
Yeah, it's Blue Wizard. Yeah.
Blue Wizard, yeah. If they want to come and hang out here tonight too, that's I mean, if they were streaming a lot today, maybe they don't want to. But if they do, they can come hang out. And we've got. Oh crap! What did I tap? Okay, we're good. Got a cat fight.
Hello, welcome.
Hi
Hello.
there.
Hi, hello. You got a spooky story for us?
Well, I don't know how spooky it is compared to other people's, but our youngest son used to tell us that we had a ghost in the house and we never believed him. And now that all the kids are gone, we really believe him because my husband and I will sit in the living room and we can hear the pacing back and forth from our bathroom to our bedroom over and over again. There's 3 steps that go from our garage into our laundry room, and then immediately make a left turn into the kitchen. And the door to the kitchen stays open, so when you walk into the garage door, you can see part of the kitchen door. So my husband was going up the steps and coming into the house one day, and when he did, he got startled because he saw a man standing in front of him, kind of partly behind the door, but mostly out from behind, visible from behind the door. And that startled him. I saw him in the dining room one night standing in front of the window when I was getting ready to go to bed. And I thought I had somebody outside looking in the house, but I could see the bottom, like below the windowsill, I could still see the figure. And then, my dog freaks out all the time, and he'll lay and he'll stare at a spot. And then he'll get up and put his tail between his legs, and he'll turn around and he'll stare at that spot for I don't know how long. And my alarm went off on my house, and nobody was here. And then the dog started freaking out, and I thought I had a home intruder. He was trying to hide underneath the desk, trying to hide underneath the covers upstairs. I ended up getting to the point where I called the police and had them come because my husband was out of town and check the whole house and there was no one here. And he's done that a couple of times, but he's usually not like that, but he'll freak out. But we think we have a ghost in the house. Nothing bad's ever happened to us. We've never had anything bad happen to the house, to guests or anything like that. We just feel like we're sharing the house with somebody, some man. And we built the house. It was an old farmland. We built the house so nobody died in the house. No one died on the property as far as we know of. But it's just really strange. You know, the footsteps that we hear, the banging that we hear through the house, just, just the weird sounds, things closing, opening, and dropping. It's just, but we never see anything. Whenever we go, we follow the noise. There's nothing there. So I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty good amount of paranormal activity for sure.
Is there a way to communicate with them?
There are
Divination.
tons of, yeah,
If you
divination.
want to?
It depends on if you want to, yeah.
We've never felt like
Ali,
we've been
Druid, you guys go ahead.
I mean, if they're intuitive enough, again, I mean, there's things like the Ouija board, there's pendulums, there's spirit boxes, there's so many different ways to communicate with those who have passed. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
you
don't-
can also even sit in the dark and, during the times of veils are thin, and you can probably just, as some people just said in the comments, just talk to them, communicate openly. It's one of the basic ways, but it depends if you really want those interactions. But I would definitely research into it before you attempt, and also go talk to someone who's an expert in this, and definitely see certain practices and stuff like that, how you keep yourself safe.
Okay. We didn't feel like there was we haven't felt like there's been any kind of danger. We don't get any bad feelings or anything. There just seems to be somebody in the house. We feel like we're just sharing the house with somebody. We don't feel like there's been any bad juju. I don't know what you want to say, how you describe it. We don't feel like we're in danger of any kind of, they're mad or however they, people describe them. We don't get that feeling. They're just here. He's just here.
Yeah, certain just like representation ritual, like, hey, we're not here to harm you. You're not here to harm us. If you have something to say, you can tell us your story. Sometimes some spirits have a story that was untold, and they're just stuck there until they have a story to say.
Interesting. I always felt, I told my sister that I think we have a ghost, and I know I sounded crazy whenever I was telling her that, because, people are like, sure you do. But it's been a couple of years, and my husband, who's very, very cynical about everything, I was glad that he was the first one to have any kind of interaction. And then he sat here and it just went on for hours one night, the footsteps back and forth, over and over and over again. So I don't know but it doesn't happen very often. I mean, we've been in the house for 20 years and, probably 6 times, 7 times where we have definite, somebody's here. It's not very often. It's not anything major. The banging little, it sounds like a cabinet door closing or a drawer closing somewhere in the house. We hear that all the time. And that's different than the normal, popping when the house from the heat and the cold, how your house pops. It's not one of those kind of noises. It's a definite different noise than that, but it doesn't happen all that often. Nothing ever really bad. It's just, we're just aware of it.
Okay, once again, just because I have got to elaborate because people are talking about it again. The Ouija board is not demonic. It's not evil. It is just a board of cardboard and a plastic pointer. What you put into it is what you get out of it. So if you're doing something that's opening something that you possibly shouldn't be opening, that's not the board doing it, it's you. The board itself has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I agree with Druid. It's mostly the person. The board is just a tool. You have to. The hammer can't hammer the nail itself. You just have to, do it. But the thing is, a lot of people don't realize that you are the ones who are very like receptive to that kind of energy in the beginning. So things like ritualistically using a board, even if it's bought from a toy store or anything of that sense, can just amplify it because you're focusing your energy on that. That's why.
Exactly. It can act as a portal just like any other type of implement that you use for divination, such as like a crystal ball or a pendulum or even the tarot cards themselves. But the board itself is no different than any other type of form of divination. That's all it is just another tool that people use for divination. What energy you put into these tools yourself is going to dictate how these tools work. If you don't put a lot of faith into it, you're not going to get much. But if you truly believe that, or if you actually have the ability to talk to people that are beyond, or if you truly believe that you can talk to things that are beyond, then you yourself will use the board to act as a conduit to call forth whatever it is that you're trying to summon.
Well, I'll look into the suggestions you guys made. Thanks for letting me share my story. I'll go ahead and drop down so somebody else can come up and give theirs.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you so much.
You guys have a great evening.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
And I'm always gonna like go with like the old ghost hunting tools. I think one of the best ways to communicate is just get you a little voice recorder and just sit down and talk to them and see if you can record any responses. That would be what I would do. That or have some people come and ghost hunt your house because that's always fun. Guys, tap the screen, get the number up. More hearts means more people means more ghost stories, and we have a guest. I didn't catch the name.
Hello, Celtic.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, guys. Hold on. Let me put my Bluetooth in so I can hear y'all a little better. And I'll tell y'all my story. All right. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the house that we lived in was built anywhere between the 1920s and the 1930s. And it was one of these old homes that had the wraparound porch in the front. It had like 4 bedrooms upstairs. The stairs, you couldn't see it until you opened up the door. So we moved in. It was my mom's house. So we moved in to help my mom out. And the first night we stayed there, we were kind of downstairs. And we heard bang, 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 like somebody's running down the stairs, opening up the stair door, running to the bathroom, shut the bathroom door, open that door back up, open the stairway door back up, and bang, 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 bang all the way up. So I got up and thinking it was my kids. Now, y'all have to understand, I was an investigator for years. So I did investigations. So I was like, okay, it's maybe one of the kids that had to use the bathroom and they just ran downstairs. So the next morning I was like, I asked the kids, who ran down the stairs? Who was that? And they were like, it wasn't me. It was like, okay, so Ida lives here. I was like, all right, kids, I want y'all to run up and down the stairs. And these stairs are kind of long and there's 13 of them. And the kids couldn't do it to recreate what was going on. And I was like, okay, so we finally got our bedroom set upstairs. Well, one night I'm laying there and me and my husband were talking and we heard a baby cry. And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, because my youngest is 7 years old. And I'm like, where's this baby crying from? And we kept hearing it again, and then it kind of settled down. As the months rolled into or the weeks rolled into months, we started getting other occurrences that started happening. Like we would hear these heavy footsteps. And one summer, my kids happened to be out of town. It was just me and my husband. We hear this heavy footsteps coming down the stairs, and the door opens, and my husband looks back, and all he can see is this dark shadow. And he goes, well, we're not alone. And I go, and I look back, and I was like, I didn't see anything, but I sensed it. I'm like, yep, we're not alone. And then the door shut, the heavy footsteps goes right back upstairs. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do some investigation into the house. We want to figure out more. So, of course, we pulled out the EVPs and starting to do that. And we get like static or like growing kind of thing going on. And I'm like, okay, we're going to cleanse this house. So the next night or the next day, we kind of opened up all the windows as much as we could. And we went through and we saged and blessed the house and whatnot and so forth on. Everything was calm for a while. Then one night I was woken up by a little child going, Mama, Mama. And I'm like, okay, thinking that it was one of my kids. There was nobody there. And so I would get up and I go check my kids. My kids are sound asleep. I'm like, okay. And then it went to tugging, Mama. And it just was tugging at me, and I'll get up. And so some of that stuff would repeat. Some of the dark figure with the heavy boots would constantly. So when my brother came into town, and he was sleeping downstairs in what was the den. So the next morning we woke up and he was just shaking. And I said, what's going on? He said, the whole house felt like we were in an earthquake. And it was just shaking kind of violently. And he says, I'm leaving. He goes, I'm out. I'm not staying in this house anymore. This house was not far from where Pee Wee Gaskins had unalived people and buried them. This was in Johnsonville, South Carolina. Not only that, there'd be some nights we would hear people outside, and of course I would get up with the pew and I'd go outside, and you would see dark shadows. And at first I'd think it would people, and I'd just fire, kind of do a warning shot. And there'd be some sitting there smoking a cigarette. And they're standing there. This place had activity, and we lived there from 2008 until we finally moved in 2015. There was a dark entity that scared my son so much he wouldn't get out of bed. And no matter what we could do, we even got a paranormal group to try to come out. And I met them off site, talked to them, told them everything that I'm telling you guys. And then there was there's other things that would happen. They were supposed to schedule to come and investigate. They never did. My mom would have a generator that wasn't plugged up, but we would hear that sucker come on, and then you hear the shh, like it's releasing, and the sucker's not plugged up. And that went on for years.
Wow.
Until we moved out.
That's,
I had to Google that. Pee Wee Gaskins. I never heard
Pee Wee
him
Gaskins.
before. Yeah, this is, I just kind of skimmed it real quick a little bit. This is pretty intense. So did you say, like what's the state of the situation now? Does anyone live there now, or?
My mom does rent out the house to someone. They did remodel. They were having activity going on the last time I talked to them, but they're one of those, they don't believe in stuff like that.
Yeah.
There would be things missing, would disappear. There would be weird stuff that show up on pictures like Christmas pictures, and you would see these weird shapes or weird kind of like balls of light show up in pictures.
Orbs.
Yeah, orbs. And things would get thrown across the room, and my kids would come running downstairs. It's back up in the room again. I'm like, here we go again.
Why did someone say Carol Baskins?
Because she said Pee Wee Baskin, so they said Carol Baskin.
Oh my god, now I get the connection. I'm just like, what? Carol Baskins come from?
No, we're not talking about the cat lady, guys.
The wheelhouse of Cat Mama.
Yeah, we would have the whole house would be dark. You know, we would go off somewhere and turn off all the lights, and we come back and the door would be open, the lights will be on. We would place like our keys in one particular spot. They'd be somewhere else in the kitchen or something like that. Doors will open on its own. And of course, we go through debunking everything. There was times when my husband worked third shift and I was in the bed. You'll feel something crawl on the bed. And I would have to say, not tonight. I'm not dealing with y'all tonight. Not tonight. You would see shadows walk because where the wraparound porch was, there was a like an overhang or whatever, and then there would be shadows walking on top of that, and you could see them in my room on the window.
Did you ever do
You
anything
hear
like
voices.
salt the doorways and windows or anything like that?
We did almost everything.
Okay.
We did sage. We did anointing oil. Everything would calm down. We would put salt. Everything would calm down and then would pick back up.
Did you try burning anything like rosemary or juniper?
No, at that time, no. I do know
Okay.
now, as digging deeper into stuff and into things that I'm studying that
Yeah.
I didn't know back then.
I'm assuming that you're studying Celtic.
Correct. And mediumship and other things.
If you have any questions in regards to Celtic mythology and folklore, that's kind of my area of expertise. So-
Well, I'm actually a Celtic priest in the
Oh yeah,
Celtic
I'm a
church.
druid, so yeah,
Yeah, my husband's druid.
that's
So,
awesome.
yeah. And, you know, at the time I was an ordained minister, and we did, you know, we would quote scripture, and, you know, we would anoint the walls. As a matter of fact, when we anoint the walls, they started turning brown. I have
Oh.
never seen something like that happen.
Huh, that's interesting.
And there's still markings there now.
Huh.
And when we left the place, we left in sections. So when we moved our stuff out of the house, we cleansed it before going into our new place. And then my mom had brought something in from the old place to the new place, and then we started having activity on in our new place.
Okay,
But,
so this is what you do, right?
Mhm.
Hypothetically, say that it's some type of demonic energy. Okay, so what you do is, in order to control a demonic entity as per the folklore, is you have to acquire its name. So you demand the name from the demon, you acquire the demon's name, then you go knock on wood to alert the Sidhe. The Sidhe tend to ask for names as well. What happens if you give the Sidhe the name of the demon?
It goes away.
Oh, it does something.
Yeah. It has no power anymore. To say, you know. But yeah, this house, I mean, it was awful. Things would break down. We would spend money to fix things, and the house was basically a spiritual money pit. It would mess with the horses on the property. It would mess with our phones. I am so glad that was years ago. We're no longer, and my mom's like, you need to come and get the rest of your stuff. And I'm like, oh, heck no. No.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But I think it was more tied to the land, because we did find out that there was an original house that did burn down where the well was, and that was really interesting in itself with the well, because the heavy slate would be moved, and it took like me and my husband and my brother at one time to try to put the slate back. It's this heavy concrete thing on top of the well, and it looked like an actual kind of a whale sitting up. It was nothing, you can see the ground, but things would move.
Yeah, that one that's a tough one to get rid of there, especially if they're that persistent.
Oh yeah, like I said, we tried, holy water, holy oil, scriptures. I would put scriptures on notebook or on cards, index cards, and stick them places, and they would be on the ground.
Maybe add a little bit of mistletoe sprinkled,
Yeah, it was just, it was unreal. I mean, it was almost every single night there was some kind of activity, and I mean, it affected one of my kids. And people that knew us would ride by and they will say, "You got something dark in that window." And I'm like, "Yep, can't figure out what it is." But see, several people have died in that house.
Oh, I mean, has anything followed y'all since, or has it been quiet since you were away from that property?
Um, at this time where we're living now, I do have some children spirits here, but they're not from that house.
Okay. Okay. So at least it
But
didn't
nothing
follow
has
you.
moved.
Yeah.
We made sure that.
Well, yeah.
We
Sounds.
live like 200 and I want to say 99 miles away from that house now. We live 3.5 hours away. So
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, see, I mean, there's some positive in this that, whatever it was, it didn't follow you out of that property. At least it was attached to that property. So that's a positive there. I'm glad you guys are.
yeah, but we've always I have always seen things since I was 6 years old. Actually, I was on a podcast. I was a guest on a podcast telling my story. I've always seen spirits. I've seen demons. I've seen angels. I've seen spirits. I've seen things that I can't explain that I've seen basically since the age of 6.
Yeah, you're not alone. Sometimes it's more of a burden than a gift.
It is, and I'm learning to set my boundaries, and I've got my spirit guides and things like that and other stuff. And so yeah. But that was, out of everything and all the different places that we live, that was the most scariest one, because like I said, you didn't know what to expect, and different things would happen, and my kids were very young at the time. And that was the most, where you had a child, you had a dark spirit, you had shadows, we even had an Indian. Everything, that would be like a hot spot for paranormal people to investigate, because you're going to get a whole bunch of different stuff.
I bet.
Yeah, that sounds like the kind of place I would love to investigate. Very active, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Well, we really
It's,
appreciate you sharing all this with us.
oh, you're
I do
quite
have,
welcome.
yeah, I do have somebody waiting. I'm going to get them up here, but you
I'm
should
going to
hang
hop
out
down.
with
I'm
us
getting ready to
and,
go to bed. So
oh,
y'all
okay,
have a
alrighty.
blessed night.
All
Thank
right, yeah,
you.
come back and give us an
Well,
update if you hear anything or if anything changes. All right, guys, tap the screen. Let's get the number up. We've got Crystal. Everybody tap the screen, hit the share button, spam the comments with some Bigfoot emojis or whatever. Mothman.
Hi, welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
Show me off the hello.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
she's gone.
Oh, she went
It
poof.
may have been an accidental request. Crystal, if you are still out there, feel free to come back if you have a story you want to share. In the meantime, guys, the guest box is wide open for whoever wants to come up and tell a spooky story. We do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories. We do it all. We just want to hear your spooky story. It doesn't even have to be paranormal. It could be about something really weird and strange and perfectly normal, but also spooky. So hop in the box, come up and tell us. Ollie, or do you feel like telling your story, the one that you said that you might share
oh,
tonight?
yeah, the W one. Yeah, sure. I think I told it before. I'll retell it. This happened on like the board. It wasn't even a reservation. It was actually kind of like outside of the borders of our reservation. I was visiting my old high school buddy, and his family, and I was staying with them for quite some time. Um, they're next to a very large park. I'm not going to disclose the area because well, I felt that day was just like really. I wouldn't want anybody to stumble upon it. But it's my interaction with the W. The W. Let me just put that down there. That's it. And this was many years ago. During that time, I was like just coming out of a funk. Like went through depression, like all these kinds of mental health things, and came out of it, right? And I was owning my own self, my own magic, and everything. And basically, I was visiting my friend. He's like, why don't you just come up with us, stay with me for a while, and stuff like that. So I was, and it was a beautiful, tribe. It was actually a little mix. His family is Navajo and Apache, and I got a lot of like education, advice, healing. I learned a lot from the grandparents. Um, they also are shaman, so they were like my teachers, gurus, and they welcomed me into the family. Like there was a whole ceremony, to where like I would have a home, right? I would have friends, and stuff like that, and it was quite beautiful, and I was very thankful. um, so what happened is we were spending time, we're having welcoming, like initiation and everything, and hearing a lot of stories. And the next, like after a few days, the next um it was like around late morning late morning. I know it wasn't noon, but it was a beautiful day. It was bright, cool, and I think and we went to a state park. It was outside of their reservation. And the state park, we were just hiking in the woods, we're chilling. The whole family's out there. And I would say like about hour into the like walk, the hike, um, I kind of sensed something like parallel to us, like walking in the woods. Now I kind of remember this quite well and vividly. I have the grandparents and the elders are like right to my left, probably like 4 feet from me on this trail. Just there, I have my bestie behind me, with with his siblings, and I have a few tribe members are in front of me. His parents are in front of me, and Bonbon, you remember? Yeah, I was like, I thought I told this, and so we were walking the woods, and I just kind of stopped because I heard whistling. And I don't know if everybody else did or if they were just watching me. At that time, I was just looking out into yonder, there's a clearing. And there was a very large, shadowy figure. This shadowy figure had similarities that were very malicious. It's the W, I would say. To me, it looked something very different. The W, like described by the elders and what my friend saw, was completely like as imagined. What I saw was literally a malicious, dark, tall spirit. Didn't really have any kind of decor. It was just that very angry, raw energy. And I will tell you what I felt that energy was. It was literally everything that it wants to feed up on, like depression, anxiety, like all of the fallacies, the inner selves that bring humans down to their worst. That's what it was, a big, tall thing standing like that. And then it turns around and faces me, and I'm locking eyes with it. And my internal instincts basically come in as protective. Like I have my protection on me, but now I'm locked into this trance as to where the shamans were saying that my aura changed. What they were seeing with their eyes was different. They could see that my aura changed into like more flammable, like it was like literally flame, because the feelings that I had were more like aggressive towards it. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And to leave, or it's gonna be like a fight. It's kind of like my emotion there. And this time, I kind of felt a little blacked out a bit, kind of like out of it, because I'm not moving. I'm not standing my ground. I felt like if I moved, it's gonna go after someone. So I wasn't. But it was coming, it was like kind of like pacing itself back and forth and looking at me. And then, as Grandma said, as the aura, grew further and further, like heated, as she stopped Grandpa from going to get me. They were like right behind me, they were right there. And she said, like, the the W kind of like just went away. And what I felt like this tall, and what I was seeing at the same time was this tall, shadow, dark figure with like aggressive eyes and teeth, just kind of like got skinnier and skinnier into the background of the woods, and kind of like just disappeared. So I saw something different, but the energy we both, like the whole tribe and I felt at the same time, was the same. At that day, they initiated me into that tribe. That was the day later, and they told me what it was because I didn't know what it was at that time. Um, but the thing is, I don't, to this day. I kind of really don't know how I tapped into that more self, but I know what I was feeling, and what I felt was like, not today. No darkness is gonna take anyone that I care about here or me today. I was getting over a funk, like I said. So understand that, like, I was fighting my own little inner demons, and I won that fight. And I'm not about to let whatever this is in the woods do it again, because I've been there, done that, and I was tired. So maybe it was that pretty much like called whatever it was inside of me to, like, come up and be like, listen, take a step forward, and I'm going to do everything I can to block you. Like, I don't want you around. Like, I don't want this shadow around. And so that interaction was like probably 10-15 minutes, according to my friend. And he was kind of shaken up by that, and we went back. We went out the woods, and we went back to the reservation, back to the big home. And the grandparents, they just basically all sat me down. They were asking me what I saw, and I described it to them, and they told me what I saw. And they said that, this is a notorious thing, but what I thought was like, well, I didn't want it to harm anyone, or me, or anybody. So all in all, I'm not gonna say too much, but all in all, that was like a moment where the tribe, like, basically, took me more further into the tribe, and I have a home away from home. It's really nice and sweet of them. But that was what they told me I saw. and what I was facing. And both the elders, the grandparents, both grandma and grandpa said it was locking its head to you. It was like right there looking at you, and both of you just stopped. But grandma sees auras, so she knew what was happening, and she allowed, like, we didn't want to touch you because she thought that if she touched me or tried to grab me towards them, it would have been a little something, like something could have been like disturbed. But all in all, like, I'm glad at least everyone was safe that day, and so on. But yeah, that was my little experience with the W. Also, it was interesting because what they saw and what I saw was physically different in our eyes, but the energy was the same. And the whole moral of this story, I feel, is when I say it is like, again, like your emotions are power. You are power within yourself. Everybody has a little magic in them. And when come face to face with certain dark adversary, remember your own strength if you could at that time. It helps you. It helps you regain power and stand your ground. So that was that. Yeah, a little emotional, but yeah, that was my um little dark thing in the woods that was told it was a W.
I saw someone in the comments say that they remember this story. I don't remember you ever telling that story.
Nor do I.
Yeah. I think that's a brand new one, at least for me. I don't
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's really cool, Ollie. It's
share, but yeah, maybe I was given very vague detail, very small details, but yeah, that was my first and I think the only interaction I've ever, because I don't think the energy that I saw in the woods that day was not an energy. It was very malicious. Like, if it took you, it's gonna take you. It was very, very dark. Nothing that I have felt like maybe like with Abrahamic demons or any of that stuff. This is something that was very old, but very angry and hungry. And so that's what I felt like, but it was hungry for something else. Not like you're hungry, that, hey, I want a cheeseburger or something like,
yeah.
I'm hungry for destruction. I'm hungry for, like, I want to eat in depression in kind of a way, kind of like that. That's, if I can best describe it, that's how I felt it was.
Yeah, there are certainly things that are in the woods of the United States as well as Europe that are far, far older and more ancient than demons.
Yeah, but it was great. The elders told me that day more about myself than I knew. And my younger self was able to learn a lot. But yeah, that was a little my little interaction with the W.
Very cool. Guys, tap the screen. Let's get the number up. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories, and we do have a guest. Let's get Bon Bon up here.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Oh, it's not connecting.
Hello.
Are you there?
Hello, welcome. Bon Bon, are you with us? Oh, it was an accidental request, I bet.
You say Bon Bon done bounced out.
Yeah. Okay, we got this person. See if they got a spooky story.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Hello, are you with us?
Can you give us a sign of your presence?
Well, okay then. If you don't want to hang out with us. Oh, Bon Bon said it was an accident. That's okay. All right, guys. We got 140 some people in here. Somebody's got a spooky story. Get up here and tell it. You know you want to. I am not telling anybody where that black hole is in Olive Hill. Thank you very much. Listen, I don't want anybody to go out there and get hurt. It's not actually in Olive Hill, though. It's technically, technically it is still in Carter County. I don't think it's across the Round County line. But at this point, it's kind of just an urban legend. The story that I heard years ago was that, what was it? The Corps of Engineers went out and they measured it, and they stopped. They kind of gave up measuring at like 900 feet. Now, is that an exaggeration? Maybe, very possibly. I have no idea. But if you think about it, considering its close proximity to Carter Caves, it's very likely that it's, part of a cave system. But so many people have asked me where that hole is, and I just think I'll tell you, because I don't want you to go out there and fall in it or something. But honestly, when you're driving past it, it just looks like a puddle. You can't even really tell. Like, it doesn't look special at all. So unless you have measuring tools, it's not really going to be worth the trip, to be completely honest.
I wonder if a drone or something like that could go down even deeper.
Well, yeah, what's funny about it is there's water in it. So, yeah, that kind of makes me question, like, how deep is it? Allegedly, it's very, very deep. Like, like I said, like 900 feet or something like that. It'd be a lot of water. It's close to like lakes and stuff, but that would be a lot for a lake. So I don't know. It's one of those things. That's the whole point of the video. It's like it's borderline an urban legend at this point. It is there. I've seen it. Every time I've ever been on that road, I've seen it. I always look at it because it kind of creeps me out that it's there. So like every time I've ever driven past it, I'm like, oh God, there it is. There's the hole, the bottomless pit. But
those local urban legends, though, like I don't know how legitimately true this is, but my best friend's mother had mentioned down in the town that they live in, which is kind of like one of those backwater areas up in Washington State called Winlock. Supposedly there's this candy house that was built in the early 1900s because there was a wave of immigrants from Germany and the Bavarian region and whatnot that came over to Washington. So they built this like gingerbread looking house. And I guess when she was a kid, she actually went into this house, which had been literally abandoned, almost like the people had vanished. Like nothing was left out of the, like everything was still intact. They still apparently had food on the kitchen table. Like the whole thing was all as if people were still there, but there was nothing there.
I don't know what's going on in the comments. You all better behave down there. Behave yourself. And Nick Davis, you're thinking of a different person, hun. Just so you know, you're not talking to who you think you're talking to. It's not the same person. There are like 3 people here by that name. Just so you know. Just so you know. And Jose, you can block yourself. We're not going to do it for you. We're going to let you flail, okay? So
exactly.
Just keep
it's
flailing.
More fun that way.
Exactly. Keep giving me engagement. Keep flailing. Yeah. Nick Davis. Yeah, it's a different one. Cat Mama. It's just a troll. They're just being trolly. They have nothing better to do. All right, guys. Guest box is open. I know one of y'all got a story that you want to come up and tell us. We do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories. I guess technically we do Glitch in the Matrix stories, but nobody really ever has one. They're very rare, few and far between. Yeah, Cat Mama, do whatever you want with him. I don't even care. Like, it's sometimes they just
sink her claws into that one.
Yeah. They just wander in and they say weird shit and then they wander out. And it's just like, unless they're picking on my guests or my panel, I don't care what they say to me. But Yeah, all right. There was something I was going to talk about tonight. I forgot what it was. Something paranormal. Crap. I don't know. I need to start keeping notes. Somebody tell a story. Don't make me ramble. Don't make me tell you guys a bunch of rambly stories. You know, we don't need that tonight. We need good ghost stories. So, um,
Even if they're about talking fruit flies.
that one's
I
going to go
can't
down
let
in
you
the.
keep that down.
That
I
one was iconic.
could share another morgue story, so y'all better hurry up and come up here.
Talking fruit flies and Sasquatch milk.
The Sasquatch milk, yeah.
Yep.
That one was a trip.
But we never heard of the Dogman milk.
Oh.
So
You know,
that
I think people can't get close enough to Dog Man. He's vicious, you know? Like
Well, what about like if you give him a bacon strip or one of those milk bones or something?
a can of Old Roy.
Yeah, there you go.
if our hunter out there can try, that would be nice. Hi, Kate.
So Bean wants to say hi to everybody real quick. He's making me play fetch with him.
Aww.
Aren't
See,
you, Mr. Bean?
some people said cats don't play fetch, and that's a lie. You're also proof of it. Bean plays fetch. My Finian plays fetch. These black cats can play fetch.
Yeah, Bean
It's
taught
true.
his
My cat
brother to
doesn't
play fetch
He
too.
just lays there.
Okay, go get it. Oh, looks like we got treasures. All right,
Hello.
treasures.
Hi, welcome.
All right,
Hello, how are you?
good. How are you?
Fantastic, thanks. I also want to add black cats absolutely do play fetch. My cat Nefertiti is a black kitty, and she learned how to play fetch at like 2.5 months old.
I need a solid black cat.
See? They do that. Oh my god.
So it
They
must
do.
be a black cat thing then, right?
My little boy before her, he was born with feline leukemia. But in the 8 months I had him, he also learned how to play fetch, and he was also a black cat.
I used to have a long time ago. I had a black cat, which oddly enough, I named him Salem Saberhagen.
Mine was Void. So, I have a quick story and then a little bit longer of a story. So I used to be a paranormal investigator in England. Uh, got to do that for a little while. It was awesome. And there was have you guys ever heard of the ancient Ram's Inn?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I think so.
I think a couple big paranormal investigating groups have done investigations there in the past. I think I got to go there, and I wish I still had it, but it's in a phone that my ex has, but a picture I took there. So the story is that two young children were unalived in some kind of ritual, like in the 1600s. Don't know how accurate that is, but when we were in the little barn chapel area, I took a picture and you can see a little boy's head like peeking over it. It was like peak paranormal investigation experience that I actually caught something on camera.
Oh, so since you did paranormal investigating in England, one place that I experienced something that I couldn't explain was Preston's Tower. Did you ever go into Preston's Tower when you were there?
I didn't.
Okay.
Dang. Well, now I got to go back.
I know. I feel the same. I need to go back.
We did this old it was like a dairy production center that had been around for since the early 1800s. And that's, I think, the place that we actually got the most activity, weirdly enough. I guess some after it, I mean, obviously it was a factory in the 1800s, so there are multiple unalivings there from just overworking and equipment malfunctions and all of that. But there are also some more recent ones. teenagers doing what teenagers do and breaking into the property. And some of them, I guess, were climbing on the roof and fell. And so there's some pretty horrible unalivings there. We were in one of the rooms that had a bunch of equipment set up. I keep forgetting what the name of it is. I haven't really seen too many other investigators use it, or they might now, but then they didn't. Where it's like a triangle thing, and if you get too close to one side, it flashes green, and the other side it flashes red. And then we had like the classic cat
Yeah, I
ball.
know what you're talking about. I can't think of what it's called though, but yeah.
A flux 2 meter. It's got a silly name. And we had like the classic K2 meter and cat balls, and we were all just and the laser grid flashlight thing, and we're all just sitting in the room trying to record EVPs, and we're not in a place where there's like any wind or anything that should have done this, but while we're all there asking questions and trying to catch something on a recorder, suddenly both cat balls on either side of the room go flying towards each other. The little red-green thing just starts flashing, alternating red and green over and over again, and the two K2 meters off to the side of us both go off screeching. Just all at once. And then our little laser thing that was up on a stand just got tossed off. So, it's kind of weird that a place that, just a random place, like a dairy production center, ended up being the most haunted place that we had there.
Do you by any chance have that picture that you could maybe show
I
us?
don't. I need to look through my WhatsApp and see if I can find it in there, because I know I sent it in the WhatsApp group we were all in. But when I was there, I was using my ex's phone because my American phone did not work. And we ended pretty badly, and the phone got taken away from me before I could send myself anything.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully it's still in the WhatsApp group, but I have not been able to get into my old WhatsApp, so I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah, hopefully you can do that and find it. That would be really good to be able to find that picture and keep it. And if you ever do come across it, I'd love to see it if you want to come back and show us.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely. Because it was so creepy, but so cool. I was so excited to have caught something like that. So I'm really bummed that I didn't get to keep it.
I'm guessing you went to the Tower of London as well and to Edinburgh Castle.
No, I didn't get. So we were mostly in like the like Cornwall area.
Oh, so you got to see Glastonbury and like Tintagel.
Yes, and
Arthurian
yeah.
folklore is my passion. That's the reason I had went over there in the first place.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I definitely, under better circumstances, need to go back. There's a lot that I didn't get to see and do. So,
Same. Yeah.
I do have. Do you have any other requests? I do have another story. If you don't.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have had experiences with the paranormal since I think I was about 5 years old, since we moved into the house I lived in from like 5 to 14. Me and my 2 younger siblings immediately did not like this duplex that we moved into. We were all couldn't really put it into words, but we're all terrified to be in that house in any room by ourselves. We always had to accompany each other. Even like when we'd get put in timeout, they'd make us go to our room and they'd try to separate us, and we would all scream and yell and cry until they all let us go into timeout together. There were a lot of weird things that happened there. I think my least favorite thing is my grandma, for some reason, loved giving us porcelain dolls, me and my sister. For every birthday, Christmas, random visit, it was always porcelain dolls. At one point, we had like 35 of these porcelain dolls all sitting up on our like TV stand and dressers. And me and my sister got the fun idea one day to take them all out of their boxes and set them up on their stands, which my grandma was not too thrilled about because apparently some of them were collectibles, but we wanted them out of their boxes. So the started my long fear of dolls, because whatever was in that house liked to manipulate them, move their heads, set them up in the middle of our room. It was awful. We would wake up in the middle of the night. We all slept on a bunk bed. We'd wake up in the middle of the night to it. Oh, hi! Violently shaking. Nothing else in the room was moving. I live in Oregon, not really earthquake zone. It was just our bed, at least once or twice a week, would just violently shake. My brother would wake up with scratches all over him. He had a dream every night about a man attacking him, and he would wake up with just scratches and bruises all over his body. The most terrifying experience for me, though, so I grew up in kind of a religious house, and my parents were very well aware that there was stuff happening in the house and that we were very afraid. I know my mom had her own experience. I don't know if you guys remember these masks that moms used to collect in the 90s. They were like these like porcelain masks that were all painted. They look kind of like masquerade masks, but they were like full face.
Yeah, my sister had a couple of those.
Yeah, my mom loved them. So they lined our hallway leading from the living room into the kitchen. And one day she's in the kitchen and she hears crashing and walks around the corner just to see every single one of these masks fly off the wall and smash into the ground. And then one of them, for some reason, my dad liked to read his Bible and then write down Bible verses that resonated with him, and he'd write them on these little notes, and he would put them in the front cover of his little leather-bound Bible. For some reason, one of these notes and one of these verses was balled up inside one of the masks that fell on the ground. So my parents knew that stuff was going on. So they told us that when we were afraid, to say, I command you in the name of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to go away, or something of that nature. So one night I am in bed and I'm woken up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I see these things on my wall, like someone's making shadow puppets, and they're saying truly heinous things to me. Things about, I don't know how my life is going to turn out, that I'm a terrible person, that they're going to make sure that my life is hell. Awful things to say to, I think I was like 10 at the time. So I kept saying the phrase that my parents taught me to say when I was afraid, and they laughed at me and told me, that's not going to help. That's not going to save you. We're going to be with you wherever you are. And I've continued to this day to have paranormal experiences wherever I go. So I kind of believe that. I know that I was not asleep and I was not dreaming even to this day, because I ran to my parents' room, climbed on their bed, and stayed awake until the sun rose, just sitting on the foot of their bed.
Wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even, that's kind of like, that leaves me a little speechless. I don't know.
Well, I'm so
So
sorry that happened.
do you ever like dream of these particular entities, or do you see them or anything, or do you feel like it manifests as like other types of paranormal activity?
Yeah, so I have not seen like these specific like shadow I remember specifically one was like a dog shadow puppet. I don't remember exactly what the other one was. I have not seen them manifest in that way, but I think I told you a story the very first time I ever came up, maybe like a month ago, about an experience that I had. Oh, I didn't even tell you about the whole experience. Um, I had like Christmas. Oh no, I think I did, where I had like Christmas ornaments thrown at me when I was in my house making wreaths. So I ran upstairs just to lay in my bed waiting for my ex fiance to come home. And when I looked down at the foot of my bed after getting that feeling, there was like a woman standing there. Uh, and just something in my gut tells me it's all kind of the same thing, especially because it's just, wherever I go.
Have you tried maybe doing some type of rituals or rites to cleanse yourself of this particular entity?
I've tried different things, but I'm probably not doing it right. Holy water and anointing oil and Palo Santo and white sage before I knew about the clothes practice. I'd tried many things.
Yeah. What do you think, Ollie?
Do you have any kind of like, did it ever tell you a name or anything of the sort? Like anything that can help identify what it is?
No, no, I don't think I've ever gotten a name, and I'm maybe too afraid to ask.
It seems like it's a strong entity. Um, I would say try to connect with a holistic practitioner if you have a chance to help you create barriers. There's something that I like to do. Um, it's called it's witch's blue salt, and you make it yourself with certain herbs. Like the basic would be basil, rosemary, clove oil, and then you would want to research and find one herb that has resonated with you, and no one knows what it is. Nobody, and I do mean nobody, knows what it is. Not even if out there, like basically the entity doesn't know. So basically, you make this in secret. Every time you do, you put yourself into it. Use your hands. Turn this around, and at the same time, I want you to gain your confidence. Like gain your confidence where fear turns into more about stand your ground power. A lot of these kinds of negative entities, they really do feed on fear. And even though you're doing things right, like you would have barriers, you would try things like cleansing, it may not work because, well, it's you. It's you that it's after, it's you that it wants. And thing is, if you yourself don't have enough faith in you, it's not going to work. It's only as powerful as you are, right? It's our emotions are the power. So next time, if you are being bothered by this, take some deep breaths and and it's easier said than done, but try to regain yourself by stand ground and be like, I'm not afraid of you, but I'm gonna box you, and let's go into the ring. Like if you can get there, and again, it's easier said than done. It's not like a snap of a finger quick thing. But try to have that internal feeling that it's like positive self-talk. Like I am
Right.
power, I am alive, I am going to stand my ground. These kinds of things, and pretty much do these cleansings again with that in mind. See if it can help.
Right. Yeah. No, that's great advice. Thank you, Ollie.
It helps, but once you do get more confidence into like kind of fighting this thing, if you get a name, give us an update. Probably Druid and I or someone else may know what it.
Power in names. That's why he's mentioning that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Somebody out here will be able to help. But yeah, try to get a name. If it is like a known like demon or something, maybe I could like I'll figure out. I think I can figure out how to help you, give you some advice towards it, or you can message me. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Insane.
I'm gonna drop down now.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming up and sharing that with us.
Of course, I'll be in the comments. But you guys have a good night.
All right, thank
You as well.
Good night. Stay safe. Hi, Cat Mama.
Cat Mama. Where
Hello,
did you
Cat
go?
Mama.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. You can drop me down. I didn't mean to do that.
Too late. You're now here.
Okay. Okay, I'll drop you then. I thought Cat Mama had an important announcement. She always does, so
Yeah.
I was looking forward to it. It's gonna be a no from me, dog. I'm gonna clear the box. Guys, we do paranormal stories, extraterrestrial stories, cryptid stories, unexplained stories, just weird stuff in general. We want to hear your spooky story real quick. We've got a lot of new people coming in tonight. Guys, be sure you follow me and turn on live notifications so that you get notified when I go live. Also, I have a subscription to the channel. It is a good way to be part of the Paranormally Correct community, and you get instant access to the Discord where we do all the fun, creepy stuff after midnight. So definitely check that out. You also get cool Squatch emojis. I'm going to throw some emojis out there so you guys can admire, feast your eyes on Mothman. Boom, there he is. Yeah, Cat Mama's throwing out some emojis, and let's see. Got Tully's throwing some good ones out there. Accident, do you have a story, or are you here to be a trolly troll? Because I'm getting troll vibes from you, just to be completely honest. And you know what? Every time we have a guest who like is in the comments like, add me, y'all always come up here and misbehave. So I don't know. I'm just not in the mood for it tonight. It's late and I'm tired. I want to hear some good spooky stories. I want to hear some more doppelganger stories and stuff. Let's see what Nick's got for us.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Whoa.
You have a spooky story for us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a spooky story for us?
Well, I was a kid one time, and long time ago, and I went to my parents' house up in Michigan, and I went down to you kick the covers off when you're sleeping, and I went down and reached my covers, and something grabbed my hand and squeezed it. I don't know what it was, but it squeezed my hand so hard that I cried. So I don't know if it was an evil spirit in my house or what it was. Both my parents were sleeping, and I'm an only child, so not sure what happened there.
Yeah, that's one of them things, we just never know. There just ain't no way to know. Did you ever have any other experiences?
Well, I sold my mom and dad's house and they both passed away. And about 12 o'clock at night, I heard a ball bouncing. It was like a very ghostly sound. And it was 12 o'clock at night, and it was like a very ghostly sounding bounce, And so I went out to look outside, and there's nothing there. But it was like a very, very ghostly, eerie bounce sound. But yeah, that was pretty scary for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know, but it was what was going on, but it was a very, very eerie, feeling. To hear a ball bouncing and it sounds so ghostly.
Where was it bouncing though? You said outside?
Outside my door, and it was 12 o'clock at night, and all the kids are inside. They're not outside playing, you know, and it was just like a very eerie, bouncy, scary noise.
Hmm.
Like very scary, like a ghostly, like a unexplainable. But I've had some pretty scary, and my parents when they passed away, I sold the house, and the house was empty. I caught. I do some paranormal investigation myself, like on Ghost Tube and stuff like that, and I caught orbs in my mom and dad's house. Sitting in the spot where they used to sit to watch TV, and that was pretty cool. I do a lot of investigations at work, and I got a lot of intelligent responses. I had one lady. She told me I figured, I'm at work. Why not put my earphones on and see if I can catch any spirits. And so I was in the, doing an investigation, and a lady, I don't know, if it's a female spirit, but it must have been because she said I was the lady of the night. And I didn't know what that meant. I thought maybe it was some like a saloon girl,
Yes.
used to work in
Yeah,
a
we know what that means.
Well, I didn't. I had no idea because I don't have any experience in that. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And so I say, I figured I'd ask the question. I said, I figured it was like one of the saloon girls. I didn't know it was like I was like for a hooker. I was like a hooker.
Yeah, don't say that word on TikTok.
Oh,
This is for educational purposes
Oh,
only.
okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. But anyway,
That's why I
it
was
bad.
trying to stop you. That's
Yeah,
why
I
I
didn't- I
was
didn't-
saying we know what you mean.
Yeah, I know it was a bad. I know it was a bad girl. But whatever. But I says, "Would you
A
like to
working
dance?"
girl.
Well, yeah. I said, "Would you like to dance?" Like dance, and it was an immediate response, without any hesitation. It said, "Sure." And that was the most creepiest thing. That was the most scariest thing I have ever. I mean, and my friend, she hunts spirits too, and she says, never, never, ever show fear. Even if you're scared to death, don't show it. And then I had another spirit tell me her name was Marilyn. I asked the spirit what his name was, and an immediate response was Marilyn. And come to find out, where I work at Walmart, it used to be an insane asylum. Long, back a long time ago. So I did some investigation. Maybe that's some spirit from that time, But that's about all I have, really.
Interesting. Very interesting.
No, I investigate all the time, and my boss tells me, Nick, you need to stop doing that because, some weird things have been happening around here. And I said, well, it's part of ghost hunting,
Yeah.
And of course, I told the spirit, I say, I tell them that I come in peace, love, and respect. I say the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I tell them that they're not allowed to attach to me or attach to any of my devices. And usually they respect it. They don't. I've never had an attachment. But my boss was like, Nick, you have to stop because we've seen some pretty strange things happening around here since you've been chasing spirits. And I said,
there's always haters telling you to. Oh, you got a lot of feedback.
Yeah, and I guess maybe she's just scared, because she's not into hunting spirits. So, she was just, but when she's not there, I hunt them anyway.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us.
No problem.
Thanks. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
I
Ooh,
kind
that
of
echo was bad.
Yeah, the feedback was pretty bad, but that was definitely some interesting stories.
Yeah, for sure. And I was gonna tell him, like there are always people. Even when I was ghost hunting, oh my god, I got it all the time. Like, you better not do that. You better quit messing with them things. Why? Why should I quit? I don't want to
Hmm.
quit. I enjoy it. It's exciting.
It's the
I'm not gonna
sheer
quit.
thrill of it. Yep.
Exactly. I want to explore the unknown and see things that other people have never seen before. If it's out there and if it exists, I want to know about it. So
Sarah
I'm a
is
big
the
proponent for
paranormal
ghost
version
hunting.
of Dora.
Oh gosh.
now I'm suspicious of all these Walmarts. Like, how did it
Yeah,
pop up so fast?
that is interesting. I never thought of that. Like, I thought all Walmarts were new. Hello, welcome,
Hello.
Missy.
How are you? Can you hear me?
It's a little. Can you guys hear Missy?
Uh, Not at the moment, but she did say, "Can you hear
Oh,
me?"
okay. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
I think you're good. Yeah, you got a spooky story for us?
I actually a couple. Uh,
Okay.
I we've lived in several different haunted houses. Uh, oh geez, where to start? The one time I did see something complete, I was sitting in my living room. My husband worked midnight. My young son was in bed. I looked out in my kitchen, and there was a woman standing there. I still remember the color of her dress. I looked back, and she was gone.
Oh, that's a ghost.
In the same house, my youngest son's toys would go off at all hours of the night, including one where we took the batteries out. He had one of these ones where you put a ball in and it would put music, and we took the batteries off because it kept going off, and it still went off. We moved from there.
I
But
don't.
the house we're currently in, uh, you can hear somebody walking up the stairs. And you know how you can catch something out of the corner of your eye? That is almost constant. We have like a peeper in our dining room.
Have you cleansed the house at all, or?
I'll burn sage every now and again when things start getting active, but it's nothing that is terrifying. We're just sharing the space.
Okay, so you're okay with the whole fact that you have ghosts and haunted presence, because as long as there's a mutual agreement, then no harm, no foul, right?
And nobody's ever been hurt.
Yeah.
It's just spooky every now and again when you're looking and seeing something out of the corner of your eye and watching the cats chase something that's not there.
Yeah, sounds like you have some pretty decent activity. I've also experienced the thing with the toys that you're talking about. There was a little kid that I used to be a nanny for, and she had a couple of toys that did that one night, and I was like, "Is this normal?" I don't even know, but it did, and it was pretty startling to say the least. So,
That thing ended up in the garbage real quick. And I don't know what you all think about with coincidence, but this is a really odd story. Uh, we lived in Colorado for 5 years. I'm from Pennsylvania. My entire family is still up in Pennsylvania. The day that my grandfather died, we knew he was sick, but the day he died, really weird. Uh, Income tax time. I had been planning on taking our income tax and going up to visit for Easter. And this was in February. We went and got our taxes done. We qualified for the same day refund. For some reason, the check did not print, but so we went home. When we got home, there was a phone call from the tax place at H&R Block that the check was there. So we went the whole way back in, got the check. By the time we got there, the bank was closed, so we were just going to deposit the next day. We had some plans other than the trip to Pennsylvania for Easter. My youngest son would have been 6 months old. Whenever I got home from that, my mom was on the phone telling me my grandfather had gone. If I'd been able to get into the money, I would not have been able to come home for my grandfather's funeral. It's just really weird the way that turned out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who just believes in coincidences, but yeah, that is pretty strange.
But that one really threw me.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see why.
In the same house, and this was a year after my grandfather passed. My mom and dad's family have known each other since my mom was real young. And my grandfather and my aunt did not get along. They argued all the time. I was at work one night. My aunt, we knew, was actively dying. She had lung cancer. I told her that I would not be able to make it home. I worked in a gas station and I was stocking the cooler. Nobody was in the store. And I heard my grandfather's voice say, "There goes the neighborhood." Of course, like I told you, a year before my grandfather had passed, I called up and talked to my dad. My aunt was actively dying that night. Just another one of those weird coincidences.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have any other stories you wanted to share with us, or?
When my aunt did pass, she came and said goodbye. I woke up with a hand on my forehead, brushing the hair on my forehead. Within 5 minutes, my mom called to tell me she had passed.
Oh, wow.
But there's a lot of little stories that I really can't think of right now that I'm trying to talk.
Well, you can always come back and tell us some more if you think of some more, but we appreciate you so much sharing those with us. That is really neat.
Thank you for allowing me to share. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Have a good.
We've got so many people, guys. Oh, I thought she was gone already. Sorry about that, guest.
Like you said, it always tends to get busy around this.
Yeah, it does. It's crazy. It's like everybody shows up in the last hour. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so I just have a short little thing. So me and my first love used to always hunt for four-leaf clovers. And he would always give them to his mother, and we just collected them. We went for a time without seeing each other, and I got back in touch with him in this really weird way. He ended up being, I guess, a little too sad for this world, and ended up unaliving, unfortunately. I had a huge garden that I had been working on for years, and the spring after his death, my whole entire yard was covered in 4, 5, and 6-leaf clovers. And it was just crazy. I would walk out to feed the birds and come back in and have like 25 for like all of those clovers in my hands. I was giving away bouquets to the neighbors. I've never come across anyone else who's had something like that happen, and I'm just curious if anyone else ever has. And it was one of the most beautiful, absolutely beautiful, unexplainable things. Like, I had seeded my garden from all different places, and the 4, 5, and 6 leaf clovers were in the white Dutch and also in the crimson and also in the red. So there wasn't really an explanation for it. That's the only explanation I can think of.
Yeah, that is amazing, actually. I've never heard a story like that. You're right. That's a first, and we usually get a lot of very similar stories and encounters and stuff, but that's a first for me. Druid, Ali, you guys ever heard of anything like that? Maybe it has like
Only
a magic connection or a spiritual connection?
so there are actually different mythologies from medieval and earlier folklore which talk about something similar to that. Um, like there's even a song about it called "The Briar and the Rose." Essentially, what happens is the star-crossed lovers, they end up either unaliving themselves or somebody unalives them, and they're buried next to one another, and from one grave will grow like a rose and another one a briar, and as they grow they intertwine. And that's kind of what that reminded me of, was the idea of like the eternal, the love eternal.
Yeah,
I've definitely had
yeah, I feel
I
this.
had some really interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I definitely had some really interesting things happen in that garden. Also, the spring after, I had a yearling, a deer yearling, show up in my yard in the middle of the city. And when I saw it, it I can't explain. Like, I looked in its eyes and I just started crying and like shaking. Um, I, I couldn't control my body. Like, it felt like the eye contact was like filling me, and I don't know. It was this really crazy, beautiful, amazing. I was crying and shaking experience, sitting there like locked eyes for I don't know how long. And then I kind of like came to my senses and like ran in and got my phone and went upstairs to like tell my neighbors. And by that time, the deer was like towards the edge of my garden, but everyone was like, "What? Like, how? How?" Because yeah, there's no reason for a deer to be in the yard. So that was another thing, and it made me think of him as well. His name was Keith, and it also felt like him.
Your feelings on this could be very, I mean, they're valid regardless, but it's probably point on. Yeah, sometimes when, people who had a strong connection towards the last or most recent person in life and basically had a tragic end and they had to unalive themselves, because the thing is, it's a disease. I'm a mental health professional, and it is a disease, and it's a very strong disease. And that's the end symptom of it. Uh, when somebody has to do that, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. But my my intuition tells me that he is kind of sending you messages. He's still around.
Oh,
Um,
he's doing it all over the place for sure.
yeah,
Ever since.
because there's still some attachment left, and that's just also like some people who've had these similar experiences kind of like just want to it's these are beautiful reminders, right? Every time you're seeing these kinds of things, it feels like a little ray of light within you.
I believe that that he is still here, just not in the same way that I am.
Yeah,
But
you're probably right. He's probably, just looking out for you because, sometimes ancestors also tend to do that. And Druid is probably is like pretty much spot on, because these are ways, either that or it could be Fae, and that's a whole nother. I mean, sometimes that's just it's not always beautiful. I mean, it is in the beginning, and then they just kind of like do some freaky deaky things.
I
But
mean, you're dealing with a force of nature that is neither benevolent nor malicious. They're just them. So, but it seems like in this particular case, even if it was, they seem to be, um, they don't seem to be doing anything harmful, if that's in fact what it is. But gut instinct for me is that it's probably her lost love, essentially, that is just kind of showing through different events that he's still there and he still cares.
yeah, so you're not alone.
that's what I think. Um, the only other thing I could think of is that the whole garden was like poison ivy and kudzu and briars, and I cleared out the whole thing and made this big fairy garden. So could have been nature spirits thanking me, but my gut was telling me that it was him, just because of, I was kind of like, duh, because of the four leaves. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and one more thing. There's one more thing I totally forgot. I was walking through my garden, and this giant leopard moth flew right into my face. It was during the day, flew right into my face and stayed there. Um, so I like went up to my door to where I could see and like tried to get it onto my hand, and she went onto my hand, and I hung out with her in the garden for a while. Every time I would put her down, she freaked out. She would like, I don't know how to explain her behavior, but it was like she was frantic. And then I would put her on my hand and she was fine. Um, so like I needed to eat, and so we decided to hang out and have dinner and watch a movie, and I was like, what am I gonna do? What is going on? Um, I ended up carrying this moth around me with me for a week. I had a little container because I twitch when I sleep. I had a little container beside my pillow that I would put her in when I would sleep, and then I would put her back on me um, until she died. Um, and I thought that was pretty interesting too.
Yeah, that is.
Cool garden
I just have to
stories.
commend you for caring about a little creature. Most people wouldn't care about just a little bug or a little moth or something. But I love that you
Oh my
kind
gosh,
of took
he's
care of it.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
He
you do
is
have
absolutely
a
gorgeous.
good heart, and nature has given you blessings. But I'm definitely sure the spirit of your past one is still communicating with you in many upon ways. There's a lot of
Yeah.
spiritual like talks about, like maybe twin flames and stuff like that, or maybe they're just waiting on the other side. When it is your time, you'll see them again. Um,
Oh,
but
100%. I know I will.
yeah, so it's probably like that, but just probably somebody who felt alone didn't want you to feel that way. I have had some certain people that I have had spiritual advice with that have similar things happen to them in regards to a past loved one or a past mate. I don't know, that sounds a little bit more like jungle, but a past, lover that recently passed, but they're still around, and sometimes it's okay to communicate with them and just say whatever you want when that presence. It also is healing for you as well in that time. So whenever you experience these things and you feel that like glow in your heart, that's the time for you to talk. Go ahead, say whatever you want. Um, it's therapeutic, and at the same time, they're listening.
Yeah, I am very much open to communication in any way from any form. I started losing friends at a very early age. I probably know about 50 people who have passed on. I've been to psychics before and they were just like, oh my God, you're surrounded, like when I walk into a room kind of thing. So it's really interesting. It definitely keeps things interesting, and it's fun to look out and pay attention and connect the dots. But sometimes it's blaring, like, the moth or the entire yard of clovers. So
Yeah,
I
for
can
sure.
only hope for many, many more.
Yeah, definitely. And we appreciate you so much sharing this story with us. This is a really beautiful story, so thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
hopefully other people will try to look out for things.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, you too. We've got, let's see what is up with Ron. Oh, Ron is gone. Okay.
Ron was gone like Bon Bon. Hello.
Are they connecting? Guest, I don't know. Gabrielle, if you're still out there, feel free to re-request. It's not connecting for some reason. Feel free to come back. Ron is back.
Welcome back, Ron.
Ron is gone again. All right.
Well,
Hello?
hello.
We had some people waiting for a little while. I think they probably moseyed on out of the stream or it timed out or something. Guys, if you're still out there, if you want to re-request, feel free. Bon Bon. Yeah, that was wow. Sometimes these stories just leave me speechless, and I'm just like, I don't know what to say. I don't. Wow, that's all I can say is wow, because
Yeah, it's wild.
I feel obligated to have something better to say, but sometimes I just don't. I don't know why, but a lot of really cool stories tonight, guys. If anybody has a story that they want to share, we do have a little less than 30 minutes left in the show tonight. You know what's weird is it says Ron is up here.
Yeah.
It says that he's. What is? That's weird.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. You have background noise.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ron, we're gonna have to disconnect you. You're gonna have to re-request. I think he might have been in a car. I don't know what just happened. Did anybody see him
Right.
pop up on the screen? Because he was here, but he wasn't on the screen.
Yeah, that
That
was
was so weird.
strange.
Ron, if you are operating a vehicle, do not come back until you are safely parked and not moving. We don't want to do anything like that. That is against TikTok rules also. Gabrielle is back. I don't know. Maybe we're just having some weird glitches tonight, I guess.
Could
Let's try
be.
Gabrielle. Hello, welcome.
Yes, hello?
Oh,
Hello?
we
Hear me?
can't hear you very well.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, yeah, so I have this pretty strange story. I'm not really a huge paranormal believer myself, but I had this crazy instance when I was out in Colorado on a vacation with my wife. And we were actually staying out in one of those casinos out there, and for some reason we stayed out there pretty late gambling, and we didn't get a room till like 6 in the morning, and so it was like 2 o'clock at night, and my wife decided, hey, let's go out just somewhere near to watch the stars. And so there's a campground like 45 minutes to an hour from Black Hawk, Colorado, and so we head on out, and we're watching these stars up, and then out of nowhere, my wife kind of points out that there's these like almost orbs flying over the mountain, and they're almost like scanning this entire mountain. And I'm just like, what? Like, just kind of mesmerized by it for a second. And I was like, all right. I was like, we keep watching it for a while, and then we actually noticed that all these orbs are actually flying up to like, it almost looks like the entire sky is connected by like stars, and it was like moving like as one whole ship. It was like one of the weirdest things ever. And then so I think, all right, that's pretty crazy right there. I think my night's already pretty pretty out there. But then out of nowhere, I actually noticed the car next to me that pulled into the parking spot where we were parked at. It was along a row of like a few parking spots that were there, like maybe 20, 30 cars over there. And we were towards one of the far left sides. And then I actually noticed that it was like maybe 4 in the morning at that point. And as me and my wife we drink, I was drinking a beer, but I had probably drank 2 beers that entire night because I was driving. And I was like, and me and her were about to cheers, and out of nowhere we actually heard somebody say cheers, but it actually sounded like it was in the back of our car. And that's when we both looked to the right, and we actually noticed like this girl with that almost had like this her jaw was like dislocated or disfigured, where her mouth was like huge, and her face was like almost like slithering back and forth. And we're like we're kind of at a loss for words, not really knowing what to say. And I was like, you know what? I was already kind of freaked out over like the whole spaceship thing that I just saw like 30 minutes before that. So I was like, you know what? Let's just kind of head on out. And that's when it was like probably I say like roughly like 4 ish, almost getting to like 4:30 ish. And it was up on the side of a mountain, and that's when by the time we were getting out of that campground we were at, it was close to about 5 o'clock, right before we were gonna get to the freeway. And there was like this Amish little, I guess, village by where we were at. And I say maybe like 10 people on the side of the road. And this is the craziest part about this entire story, if none of this has already been crazy enough. But the Amish people that were on the side of the road, I slowed down enough to take a pretty good look at them, and all their eyes were completely black. Like me and my wife both had like, yeah, like just talked about it, and we're like, and I just slowed down to the point where I was going about 15 miles an hour, and I could literally see like pretty close to where we were at, because we were about 15 feet from each other. And I couldn't see any like eyelids. I couldn't see them blinking. I could literally just see like if their entire eyelids were pretty much black. And then I could literally see the freeway from where we were at when I was seeing these people. and out of nowhere, my light for my tire just started going off. Like if I had a flat tire, like I had a pressure sensor on all my tires, and all of them were at about 35, and this one just went from 35 to zero out of nowhere. But I didn't feel it went. I went like completely flat. So I was okay. That's weird. And by the time I got to the actual freeway, there was actually a gas station right there, and I pulled in, and I was about to go actually to the place to fill up the air on the tire, and the gauge went back to normal. I went outside, and the tire was fine. Like I was like, it was probably the most craziest like night that I've had in quite a while.
Yeah, I always tell people, like people come up sometimes and they tell me a story and they say, "What do you think about that?" And I'm always like, "I don't know. I have no idea what to think about that. What do you think about it?" But I'm gonna tell you, I think the aliens scrambled your brain that night because that sounds that was there were a lot of twists that I didn't see coming in that story.
No, and
It's
like
like
I
an
said,
M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
no, and like I said, I'm not really like a paranormal person. I'm not really like anybody that like really ever like, you know what I mean. I was pretty sober. Like I said, I had 2 beers that night, and it wasn't like had any sort of any other reason to explain what I was seeing, what was happening, and it was just like one of the freakiest nights of my life that I could ever like even imagine of like, you know what I mean. It was pretty out there, and I was like, and I haven't really told this story to anybody or like really shared it much, but my mother-in-law really listens to your channel, and she recommended me to just kind of come out here and say it. But yeah, it was pretty out there, and I was like, and I don't really say it myself because it sounds so out there that I think people are gonna think I'm crazy. But that I mean that's straight up what happened. That's exactly what I experienced, and it was just like I was in the middle of like nowhere in like in Denver, and like when I was already on vacation, kind of in the middle of nowhere in this little town that's kind of like in the middle of nowhere, you know. So it was pretty out there.
Wow, that is an amazing encounter. I don't know. That's just amazing. We appreciate you so much sharing that with us. I'm glad that you did. Druid, Ollie, do you guys have anything? Do you want to say anything or?
I thought those Amish were like possibly vampires for a second. And then when he said, and I'm like, ooh, either they're trying to steal your blood or your tires. But then, Sarah, there could be aliens. I was like, wait, did I almost get into the vampire story?
I felt like we wanted our souls. That's what I felt like.
If they're ghost Amish, they're gonna chase you slowly.
Yeah, no, yeah. That is true.
Well, thank you so much for telling us about that. That is a really wild, spooky story.
No, yeah, I really appreciate you guys having this platform. You guys have some pretty great stories I've heard so far. So, thank you guys.
Thanks. Have a good night. Oh wow, that one. Raven, did you miss a really good story because you were not paying attention? I'm not picking on you, Raven. I mean, maybe I'm picking on you a little bit. That was wild. Oh my God. You know what I kept thinking the whole time? I was like, you know what? Okay, I don't know why I think this. I have no idea why this thought popped into my head, but I kept thinking, what if they got abducted by aliens and in the process of like coming to, everything scrambled around them? I don't know. Does that make sense? Oh my God. I have no idea.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Kind of like when you wake up from like a really, I don't know what even causes this type of sleep, just like a really intense sleep. And you're like, where am I? What day is it? You know, kind of one of those things.
I would like to know what cocktail they're using. Because I would like to have, I'd like to share, you know, scientific knowledge. Whatever they're using could be amazing. And I would like one myself, like, you know, hey, can I just have them in a little box? Do I need a prescription? Like what?
Kind of like that, what is it, the amnesia ray or whatever from Men in Black?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, you're still awake after that. I want to be like, you know, put to sleep.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Welcome, Cupcake.
Welcome.
Hey guys. We've had a lot of extremely strange things happen to us lately. Um, I'm and it's a lot of out of place things like we have 3 outlets in our living room, and we've lived here for like the past 15 years. Tell me why all of a sudden I have another outlet that we have never seen whatsoever in our whole entire life that we've lived here. We now all of a sudden have an extra outlet in our living room. Um, it's things like that that have been really strange lately. But I've had an extremely bizarre thing happen to us about maybe 6 months ago. Um, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Okay, perfect. No, it's not because we haven't noticed it. The outlet is literally right by our wood burning stove, and it's where we put our Christmas tree at. We've always had to run an extension cord. It is, it is something that, it was just there. The outlet's there, and it was never there. And I know it seems it's so extremely silly to even talk about something like that, but when you have such a small house and you don't have enough outlets in your house, and all of a sudden you have an extra one in your living room, you start to question your sanity after a certain amount of time. You're like, was there an outlet there? Have we lived here for like the past 15 years and we didn't realize that we have an extra outlet in our living room? It's just completely mind-boggling. But I mean, there's another reason why I called in today, not just because of the outlet, but that's the newest thing that's happened. I know exactly. Maybe I have a ghost maintenance man. Who knows?
Yeah, it sounds like a glitch in the Matrix story. And I was just
It's
saying at
got
the
to be,
beginning of the show. Yeah, I was just saying that we don't get very many of those, but that kind of sounds like one.
Isn't it bizarre? It's the most silliest thing ever. Like, it is just completely silly. Like, of all of the crazy things that's happened to my house in my life, I mean, that's one of the top 10 things that bothers me the most, because it is a constant struggle. We have a large family that lives in a very small home, and having an outlet that works in the house and being able to fight over phone chargers, and where to be able to plug the Christmas tree at, and running extension cords everywhere because we just don't have enough outlets. All of a sudden, I'm looking at that outlet right now, and it is in plain view. And never in the past 15 years have we lived in this home was there an outlet in my living room underneath our picture window. It's just absolutely bonkers.
Somebody had a good
So
idea
I don't. Go ahead. I'm
and
sorry.
said, shine a flashlight on it to see if there's a camera.
I thought about that because I work at a homeless shelter, and we are always really on top of security. We are always worried that somebody's putting cameras in the bathrooms because of the amount of people that come in and out. So that actually was one of the first things that I did, because there are cameras out there that are tiny, like a screw that you can put in an outlet. And so I totally understand why people would want for me to check that. But no, there's no camera there. And we don't have anybody that comes in and out of our home, just the regular standard family members. My husband's a handyman. He's the one that does all of our repairs. So yeah, an extra outlet, guys. I know it's not as wild as everybody else's stories, but I mean, imagine if that happened to you and you know exactly where everything is at in your whole entire house. But
No, it's
I'm
so
not
good
complaining.
because
I'm
it's a
just saying
glitch in
it's
the
bonkers.
Matrix. Yeah.
So, but no,
Oh my god.
another reason why I called in today. So, talking about Mandela effect, so I was well, I still am. I'm an officiant. I do weddings and I do funerals. And for the past 10 years, I've been doing that. My sister who's passed away now, her husband's side of the family went through a period of time in which they were into a lot of drugs, and there was a whole lot of overdoses in his side of the family. So I was always getting called out to be able to do basically one funeral after another for his side of the family. And it was really devastating. There's a huge drug epidemic everywhere. But one of the last funerals that I did was for my brother-in-law's brother. And he also had an overdose. And I remember because, the funeral was extremely small and not a whole lot of people showed up. And my husband was there with us, my side of the family. And so in all, there was about 20 people total for the funeral. And it was it was a very sad thing because he was genuinely a pretty good person. You can be a good person and you can still have an addiction. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that you have an addiction, which I believe is an illness. Anyways, so fast forward to about 6 months ago. We were having problems with our vehicle, and the car repair shop had a 24-hour drop-off in which you can drop the vehicle off and drop the keys off, and then they would get to it, over the weekend, and you would go and pick it up on Monday, which is a fabulous service. So I work third shift, and on that particular night, we dropped the vehicle off around, 11:30, and my husband followed me there, and both my husband and I myself were sitting in the truck. And when we were getting ready to leave, we noticed that there were two people talking in the corner, and one person walked up and said, "Hey, do you have a cigarette?" And I said, No, I don't smoke." And when the person came into the light, it was my brother-in-law's brother, in which I did the funeral for. And I said, I'm not gonna say his true name on here because I don't know if anybody is listening from my side of the family. I know that they would be really happy about that, but I said, "Charles, is that you?" Now in my mind, and my husband's looking at me, and we're just completely shocked. And he goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "It's Tina, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm looking at my husband, and I'm like, "Do you remember my husband?" And he goes, Yeah, how are you doing?" And then he says my husband's name. And he goes, "Well, I just wanted to make sure that you're okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I be okay?" And he goes, "Well, I didn't know who was in the truck with you." I said, it's my husband." And he goes, Yeah, I remember him. And then I said, "Okay, well, how's the family? How's everybody doing?" And because I was in shock. And he goes, "Well, everybody's just fine," which I know everybody wasn't just fine. And I'm just literally flabbergasted. I mean, you know how like when you put yourself on autopilot when something traumatic happens, you still go through the motions of, going through a conversation and all of it. It was literally that. And we just basically said, "Well, we gotta go." And we drove away. And I looked at my husband and I said, "Wasn't that Charles?" He goes, "Yes, you did his funeral." I said, I know. I saw him dead in a casket. So tell me why he just walked up to our vehicle while we were trying to drop off our other vehicle to get repaired. And he's like, "You need to call your mother. You need to call everybody to see if that actually if he actually passed away, like, and I don't even know what to even say, guys. Like, how is that even possible? Because I tried to contact everybody, and it's like everybody has amnesia, or every single time that I want to try to contact somebody to see if he is still alive. I looked at him on Facebook. He has had no activity on his Facebook page. I've contacted so many different people. Nobody has gotten back to me, and every single time I think about bringing him up to anybody that will remotely know who he is, I forget. Like it's almost like I know this is going to sound extremely stupid, but like in the fantasy novels and movies, how there's some kind of like distraction spell or all of that kind of nonsense. It's almost something like that. Like every single time I even think about it, and to even bring it up, it's like either I forget, or the person that I asked doesn't understand what I'm trying to say, or if I even hunted down the mother of one of his kids, and she said, "That's really funny," and then that was it. There's nothing else. There's no other information. Like, how can I not know if this person is alive or dead? I looked up for his obituary. His obituary is not even anywhere to be found on the internet. It's like he's a neutral person or something. But I know what I saw. I know that I did a funeral for him. I did a funeral for his sister, his mother, and his dad, including him. He had an overdose, and it's literally one of the most bizarrest things I've ever heard, or have ever really happened to me in this kind of degree in my whole entire life. Like, literally walked up, knew who my name was, knew who my husband was. The only thing that was even remotely different about him was where he was bald up on top and he had a little patch of hair. Now he had hair. Like, how do you come back alive and then, and then have hair on your head?
Is it at all possible that this person, for some reason, went into the witness protection program?
It's kind of funny that you say that, because that was my first thought. Because when he was laying in the casket, there's a pallor over someone when they get formaldehyde in them. And unfortunately, I know this. I've seen too many, people that have passed away. There's a pallor. It looks like wax. And the skin looks like wax almost. And there's a sheen to it. And I noticed that when he was laying in the casket, that normally when someone has passed away, they stitch the lips closed. And the lips are very, very pressed together. And I'm sorry, I have ADHD, so I see all of the small, tiny little details. And I noticed that his lips were not pressed together very, very tightly. And I was thinking, oh my God, I hope his mouth doesn't open while, people come up and pay their last respects. And that's the only thing that I would say that would be anything different than the other deceased persons that I've seen in a casket, was the lips were not pressed tightly together. And so I'm thinking to myself, he could have possibly faked his death, maybe. I mean, considering the amount of drugs that went through that particular family, it could be possible. But why in the world would he stick around in the same city? They wouldn't make any kind of sense. I mean, if you really want to be able to nitpick about it, if he's in the witness protection plan and he testifies against somebody, he would be probably somewhere on the beach somewhere, way far away from, the state that we're in.
I mean, you never know. Unless you've been in the witness protection program, you may not know exactly their process.
That's true.
It's entirely
you are
possible
correct.
You've been around for a little bit, so. That would
You're
be my
right. I mean,
guess.
that gives me a little bit of comfort knowing that that's a possibility, because the alternative is absolutely batshit crazy. So, so yeah. So that is something that has happened recently, and I am really having a hard time coming to grips with the reality of it, because I asked my husband a couple times, like, did that really actually happen? Did we really actually see him? Yeah, and doppelgangers. I've even thought about that too. But, I don't know what to say about that, because the person had the same mannerisms. They knew our names. I will, honey. Thank you, Dravy. Thank you, buddy. So thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it. My son can tell. I have a 10-year-old son. He can tell that I'm visibly upset talking about this. He's putting a pillow on the couch for me, trying to make me feel a little bit better.
Hello.
Oh, okay, Draven.
Sweet. Oh.
Yeah, he is. He's the best. But yeah, it's disturbing. And
I feel ya.
And no, he didn't have a twin. No, absolutely not. I know the whole entire family. He doesn't even have a cousin that remotely looks like him. So I wish, I hope he had a twin. I'll tell you that. But no, he didn't.
So when you talk about this to your husband or family members,
I have played
they kind of, they're not shocked at all. They kind of like just brush it off.
They literally, when I'm trying to, didn't quite exactly hear everything you just said. My son was trying to talk to me. Now, are you saying, are you asking me if people are just brushing me off, or?
Yeah, like if you bring this up to your husband or family members directly involved with the deceased, are they like just brushing it off? Like they're like, huh, that's...
Yes, not my husband. He was there with me. My husband was there with me. And he actually is the person that is pushing me to be able to try to find more information to see if he's actually dead. I've asked my mother, I've asked, pretty much I've reached out over the past, 6 months, everybody that's been at that funeral. And I'm just being basically brushed off. I'm not being taken seriously. I'm not. I've had one person that responded back to me and they said, "You're funny." And that's literally it. And I am so frustrated because, I don't know what else to do. And every single time I do bring it up, they won't give me a definite answer, or they're looking at me like I am making a joke in bad taste. And I can't get any heads or tails out of it. I mean, in the internet, for God's sakes, you can find anybody over the internet nowadays. I'm only finding, his Facebook page and, old mugshots from when he had gotten. He doesn't. At this point, there's just only bits and pieces of him on the internet.
Yeah.
So, just, everybody has a trail. And it's like every single time I look, it's slowly disappearing.
I feel like...
So, I am.
I feel like the biggest evidence, and it's kind of like crude, it's like to just basically dig up that grave again and see, get a sample, see who's in it. Because it's just like, I'm perplexed along with you. This doesn't seem like a straight theme, but if it could be, I'm not brushing it off as to it could have been like, a kind of like a ghostly visit. Or
you know what? I understand why you say that, but I literally, when he came up to the window, like I said, I noticed small things. He put his hand down on the window and asked for a cigarette, and it made a noise. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if it was an apparition or a phantom or a ghost or whatever, God forbid, you would think that they wouldn't be able to have enough corporeal substance to be able to make a noise, to be able to put their hand down on something and for someone to hear it, unless there's some kind of poltergeist, in which I don't believe that that's what this is. It's unexplainable. And you know, and I am at this point that for my own sanity, I am going to have to chalk it up to one of them things that I probably will never know. And not everything needs an explanation in life. So,
Yeah,
but
probably. But yeah, there could be one or two things, but we're kind of all suspecting witness protection. And the best thing, I would,
yeah,
if it's possible at all, along with the support of your husband, if it is at all possible to, like, you know, dig up the grave for, like, hey, we need to do something.
right.
Like, we need to,
Holly,
like,
did
dig
you
up
just
The
say dig
sculpting.
up the grave?
Yes, yes.
Dogman, do something.
You know, that's so funny because we joke about that, but I'm not going to be skulking around, you know, like Laluigi, you know, with a little shovel.
I know, but it's just like, it's a thought. Like, can I tell
It
the
is a
clown? Maybe there's
thought. I know.
something is missing.
I
That, oh,
know.
you have to test him for something. They're probably like, you know, there's a packet or something like that still stuck in his stomach. We need that for evidence or something. So,
I
like,
know. So now you guys get to, you know, have the conundrum with me. It did. I know I did the funeral. I know I did. And my husband is the only one that is supportive of all of this because he was there with me and he was the one that looked at me like, did this actually happen? I'm telling the story about finding, you know who, over at the, you know what I mean, about, yeah. So, but yeah, he's the only one that um he's the only one that saw this person with me. And I don't even know what to say, guys. I don't even know.
grab a shovel. We gotta
No. I'm going
I'm
with witness protection. That's what makes the most
Yeah.
sense to me. I think
I'm gonna have to go with them too because that's what it
Yeah,
sounds
when we
like to
drop
me.
the car off, I'm telling them when we drop the car off, everybody's thinking that it's witness protection.
Yeah, they do that. Was told to rob us, and then
Yeah.
oh, it's you guys. Oh,
Yeah.
we're not going to rob you guys.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling them right now is what happened when we were dropping the car off. So yeah, my husband just walked in the room.
Yeah.
So
well, we
I know.
believe you. It's just,
Yeah.
I would be more
Oh, I told him
comfortable.
about the outlet being in the living room too. But
Well, we
yeah,
appreciate
guys,
you
things
so
are
much
getting
coming
weird.
up and telling us about that and the outlet thing. I don't know what to make of that either, but this has been incredibly fascinating and we really appreciate it.
I know.
And
Yeah.
hopefully, if
You're
you have any
welcome.
updates, if
I
anything
will.
else
I would
appears
love
in
to
your
be able to tell
house,
you.
yeah, if
I
anything
know.
else appears
No,
in your
Jesse,
house,
I'm not.
definitely come back.
Yeah.
And but
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for coming up and telling us about that. And we
Okay.
hope to see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Bye bye.
All right, guys, it is that time. Holy cow, this flew by tonight. It's 2, guys. We usually shut it down at 2. Real quick, while we've got some people in here before you guys go, be sure to go over to my profile, turn on post notifications and live notifications. There's a little bell up at the top. You'll get notified when I go live. We do this 2 nights a week, Sunday and Monday, 11 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Eastern. 2 a.m. Eastern. That's right. I'm so tired. It didn't sound right when I said it. It was okay in my head, and then when it came out my mouth, I was like, wait, was that right? It's right. Subscription. I know it kind of seems like there's not a whole lot of interest in this right now, which I don't understand because this subscription is very cool. It's very fun. We have a Discord. We do little mini live streams over there on the weekends sometimes, and I'd like to do some through the week. We do tarot readings over there. We're going to have like a whole occult extravaganza over there. It's going to be awesome. You guys want to come hang out, hit the little subscribe button. You get instant access to the Discord. Also, you get Bigfoot emojis. And you get subscriber-only videos that nobody else gets to see. Come on, guys. This is cool stuff. You know, you want to be part of it. Druid does some fantastic things. Ali does some fantastic things. Guys, I'm not articulate right now.
You're fine.
You guys show Ali and Druid some love for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it so much. I want to say thank you to everybody that came up and shared a story. I know it's difficult to, sometimes share your stories, so I appreciate each and every one of you. I was kind of hoping that the talking fly guy would come back. I had more questions for him, but he never made an appearance tonight. Let's see, what else? I don't know. I have a video that I posted recently. If you guys want to go check that out, it's actually a very sad ghost story about a place in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and the ghost of a little girl named Bessie. So if you guys want to check that out, definitely do. Until next week, guys. We will be back next week, next Sunday, 11 p.m. Don't forget those notifications. Yeah. Have a good week.
Have a good
Your story is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Good time tonight. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.